Well, that really is surprising. I thought we were going to, roll the intro and then start the stream, but no, Matt was just going to go. He actually just went straight in there when I was busy looking at Timothy Chalamet because people have been dissing the Game Awards. I was thinking, he looks like he's worked out since June Part 1. And with that amazing intro to this World of Warcraft news show, hello.
Also, yes, we're here.
Make loud noise.
Hello, yes. Yes, are we camera? We do camera checks before we start the show because we are profound professionals and we don't ruin anything at all. And also, how can you change that when you have the... Because that display and that's broken, right?
It works for me.
It works for you?
Yep.
All right, well, it didn't work for me and I had to spend ages fixing it yesterday for podcast. Cool. I guess that's just fine. Doesn't really work for me. But okay, hello everyone.
And we've got things to talk about. And also... Your microphone is not set up for my undisciplined voice. Yeah,
it never is. There's no way to actually fix that because you literally just scream. Unless I set it to maximum. Yeah, exactly. I need to just talk or set it to maximum. What year is it, Matt? 20. Is that? I don't know. But yes, hello. Hello. It's the year. It's almost 2024. Yep. It's almost 2024. It's 2023. Pain. Are we fixed? Fine tuning my focus. Am I blurry? Try to focus me, haha. You can't. We're actually just a little bit insane today.
There we go. We're good.
Yeah, we're perfect. So, World of Warcraft, etc. Yes. To hijack. Yes, to hijack. Yeah.
Yeah, confirmed. Ian has removed all monetization from World of Warcraft. You're not caught up to date in the news, are you?
No, I don't know the news.
Good. I do, because I've just recorded it. He has not gotten rid of all of the monetization, but... He has announced that one trend we didn't like, at least will not be continuing for the next little while, which is pretty cool. And there's other things. We finally get to talk about why PvP's dead. Everybody's been talking about this for a while and like requesting us to do some sort of video on the situation, because I think it's now turned to like PvP developers, what developers, PvP community, Van Rookie, and like 3 Twitch streamers.
That's it. Just everyone else gone. Everyone else gone forever. I think that's actually an interesting part about PvP being so scuffed for so long.
That's why Bajir is so big. There's no more players to PvP with, so now he has to PvP with other people in the real life.
I see. Yes, just picking up IRL PvP, which is we can't say we endorse in any capacity, especially not like the Season of Discovery Ashenvale PvP.
I need to find out. Well, okay, all right. Could you explain to me what the hell's going on in Ashenvale?
Yes, there's a PvP event that is in there. That's basically it. Where you get your Warcraft Gulch rep in there, and you can get all the stuff, but it's actually in the world. So it is.
Right. Yeah. But why is it turned into a thing? Because I've noticed that it's a thing.
Because there's literally a thing in there. There's a Farseer, or I think it's a Keeper of the Grove spawn, and it's literally an event that starts like an actual battle. You know the way you'd have the battle for Nashatar?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of something like that, where as things are done in the zone by people, a progress bar fills, and once that's full, basically bosses spawn at either side for for each faction to try and take down. And there's like lieutenants that are basically mini bosses that you have to kill. So you like actually properly have to.
Oh, race. So it's PvEVP.
It's PvE. It's PvEVP. Yeah.
That's obviously why it's a shit show. Are people enjoying it?
Yes, people are enjoying it.
Oh, they are.
People are really enjoying it. It's great.
Oh, I thought they were really angry.
People are angry at some of it because it is a bit broken. It's a bit broken. And there was a big post made by your man. I keep forgetting his name. This morning about it.
Is this a Blizzard person?
Yeah. The Josh guy, I think it was Josh. Is it Greenfield? I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah. Greenfield. He's like a software engineer background, right?
I believe so, but he was talking about it and like just this massive post about what was wrong with it and like why things were breaking. And it was one of those things of, the Season of Discovery team are allowed to say whatever the hell they want. Seems.
Hey, I think we got to cover this, right? Yeah. I've just dropped a link here in our Notion. So if you follow that, let's just do this as our first segment. I've been wondering what's going on with Ashenvale. I suppose we can all sort of learn together. Yes. I'm going to be diving into Season of Mastery over the Christmas break.
What is Season of Mastery? God, you're a bit late for that one, mate.
Listen, man, I've got to catch up.
Yeah, you're a bit late here.
I will be diving into Season of Discovery during the Christmas break. I am very, 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 very excited. I still remember running around with Matt, killing harpies in the Barrens. Launch night of Classic.
Billion years ago?
About 18 years ago. How much fun that was. So, I'm absolutely thrilled, to be honest, at the prospect. That I'm going to play a bunch of Napoleon Total War. Because, man, I booted that up, runs on my laptop, do the Battle of Waterloo, think about multiple now that soldiering memes from Sharp, and perfect time. Yeah, big cozy Christmas. Right, so that's the event guide. Then the other thing is the post from Mr. Greenfield.
Agrand.
Or should we say Agrand?
He is the WoW Classic game producer. I forgot what his actual name is.
Okay. That may not be him. Anyway, so what he says is, sometimes in game development, you find yourself in situations where things don't go according to plan. In the past, we've done our best to remain transparent.
I've got to say, please don't read this whole thing out.
Holy moly!
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I read this morning. It is crazy.
What is it supposed to be? So the intent is use a fairly compelling carrot and stick, Warsong Gulch rep and amount to get people into Ashenvale so they can fight. Now, that is a thing that's actually bloody interesting to me. Because, could you imagine a situation where World of Warcraft Legion had vibrant PvP, had new PvP maps set in the zones, where war mode was tied into battlegrounds, and where it maybe felt like some sort of cohesive, designed game?
No, I can't imagine. Not at all.
Which at the very least says they have been open about like trying to learn lessons from Classic. I remember they did that. They did that in BFA, and apparently what that meant was just bringing scrolls back. I think people are more thinking like, let's try to think, a wee bit deeper. This is an example of something like that. Is this literally like Winter Grasp? No, but are there kind of like similar vibes of it all being connected and being a world? Yes. Exactly. In that respect, it was a success. It's a hotly contested zone that houses several quest hubs, as well as our endgame raid for the level 25 band, so conflict was assured. We really wanted it to be a non-stop hotbed for PvP. One of those things, world PvP has always been like amazing and promised, but in reality it turned into, just if people aren't aware, back in the day it turned into like lots of ganking, which is fun, and South Shore versus Tarren Mill, because that's where the graveyards were set up so that it was a good place to farm, to farm your honor points. They tried to carry that design intent through with the PvP objectives in the Burning Crusade, and everyone had flying mounts.
That's it.
Yep, didn't really matter.
Yeah, and that's it, which is interesting because from talking to Jared, like Ashenvale seems like there's obviously people who are in there for the card on the stick. They're there for the rep, for the mount, because it's like a little 25 mount kind of thing. But one of the other things is that like Warsong Gulch and the Ashenvale, here's the Night Elves versus the Horde, or like versus the orcs at like pushing in, is actually like a really compelling part of, I guess, like the world at that time.
Yeah.
So they're like,
who'd have thought?
Yeah. So they're like, what if we just make it a little bit more heavy PvP, and you can go and have fun there, and you can fight each other properly. And like as Jared was saying, like the fantasy part of that is really strong, and the amount of people he sees that are just like properly just like, I'm rolling a night elf rogue or something to just go and kill a load of orcs, or vice versa. I
mean, what if World of Warcraft Ashenvale carried on the feeling of Ashenvale in Warcraft 3?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Big W. Right, so they always wanted the zone to be PvE, but with plenty of PvP going on. Now then, how does this work? It starts with a lead-up phase. During that, there's a counter that runs behind the scenes and adds up how many PvP and PvE kills occur in the zone. That's interesting. Once the counter reaches a number, the battle begins, as represented by a percentage counter in the UI. This element then is replaced with an objective tracker to track the battle. Once the battle begins, 3 lieutenants spawn for each faction at various points of the map. Keepers that grow for the Alliance, Blade Masters for the Horde, General for each faction. For the Horde, this is a Farseer, Priestess of the Moon, both are invulnerable, do massive damage. Okay, so it's taking a lot of the design intent of Altaric Valley.
Yeah, it's AV.
Now, here is where this gets to be interesting to me. I remember thinking about the Battle of Shatrat City in Warlords of Draenor, and how it was a cool little, thing that happened, but it wasn't actually a battle. There was no battle in the real world. So obviously this is it being done by PvP. But what happens if you do that with PvE AI players? So that's the bit where I'm starting to think, what could a truly next level World of Warcraft, Warfronts? Because I don't want to say it, but this is a Warfront. This is like a Warfront as implemented in World of Warcraft with World of Warcraft's mechanics versus a very forced, scripted thing that was perhaps... Do you know what it is? I feel like with Warfronts, and maybe it just represents some of the thinking the team had back then, very first order thinking. Very, this is our type of thing we're going to do. It's going to harken back to Warcraft 3. What does that actually mean? Instead of, I suppose, in the same way that this makes you feel like Warcraft 3 is going on in Ashenvale, via the mechanics of WoW, they tried to shoehorn the mechanics of Warcraft 3 into WoW. And then it doesn't really work. Whereas if you've got something like this, that actually is beginning to feel more like what we'd sort of understand as a Warfront, at least in theme and fantasy. If you can then do that with those kind of smart AI players, this is the kind of thing where I'm thinking how does World of Warcraft eclipse other video games in terms of what their zones feel like? And I know not everybody wants a PvP zone, which is why I would imagine they're doing it PvE with, with NPCs. That could be a pretty damn cool thing to do.
Be interesting if they have the technical capacity for that, just in how much you can run things not in instances, because obviously the time the Island Expedition PvP guys, obviously that was instance and pretty limited, but the idea of having that but planted into its own, where there's actual just, hey, we are in a way, I guess, artificially keeping the zones alive, but in a way that, it's a video game. You're fine to have NPCs do stuff. Obviously, without NPCs, you wouldn't have cities, stuff like that. So I think that's really interesting to me, that it's so easy to conceptualize that, just sort of different pieces coming together to make something that actually could be a pretty game-changing experience, honestly. Because I'm just imagining the idea of this place always... Now, how to make it feel meaningful and how to not get people bored is a different story. But if you have the likes of this going on, but it's also, it's full of what are basically mooks. Because I know a lot of people don't like PvP because another player is a challenge. Another player can be difficult.
Hence they like Comp Stomp.
Yeah, so
that's partially just for grinding rewards, of course.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing where if you just had Comp Stomp in his own, basically. If you had Comp Stomp in his own, that would be good as hell.
Yeah.
Especially if you have something along the lines of this fantasy first and world first stuff.
Yeah, and you can okay, so imagine, I don't know, I'm going to invent a place called the Fields of Strife, and I'm pretty sure that's literally a place in the game, but whatever. Let's just say Odin carves out some realm, right? And it's just, us battling against the Valajar, and there are all these named Valajar NPCs, and Heimdall and co, they can all sort of come in and act as literally have the AI of a player, but the power of a boss. You could actually start to do some pretty cool things. That's just one quick little example, because obviously there'll be some Odin-ish related stuff with, Odin tier in the future. But yeah, if you want to make it feel like a zone is being invaded by whatever type of, I don't know, Burning Legion, or, not that we'll be dealing with them. Maybe, yeah. But just imagine how cool that would feel. Anyway, point is, make a PvE version of this using the AI tech you've already got. Though getting that AI tech to work not in a little, happy instance island that only has 4 or 5 people in it, or 3 people, whatever it was, that could be challenging. Anyway, what went wrong?
Lots.
Oh dear. Okay. On a realm with a single layer, there are very few points of failure. This is one thing that I've always thought about in WoW. The way you have any cool idea for, how the world could matter in World of Warcraft. And then you think about sharding. You think about, say, Wintergrasp, right? And maybe this is one of the reasons why Warfronts ended up having to be so lame. The way they were supposed to be the Alliance and the Horde are fighting each other in a big war, and it just turned out there's a bar that fills every 7 days, and it swaps. And there's, it's not actually a war. Whereas like Wintergrasp felt like a war. But they couldn't do a Wintergrasp now. And like Wintergrasp itself, it's been converted into like an epic battleground or something, I think.
It's epic PG.
Because like, yeah, nowadays, like they couldn't really do something like Wintergrasp. Because you could just phase hop. You could phase hop to a Wintergrasp where, like, I don't know, Vault of Archivon is open for your faction.
Yeah, that's the problem, and this is just kind of why I think this post specifically is really interesting, because it actually, like, I think this is one of the first times I've ever publicly kind of talked about it in this way of like, hey, this is like how layers literally present challenges to us on a design level, and not just on a technical level, but like literally how they keep things fair and feeling proper.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it's like, oh yeah, well, and not even just that, but in the way that it's a thing they can't negotiate with. They can't be like, well, they need the layer, because if they don't, the game crashes, like the server crashes. So they actually have to, like, they are now stuck in this world of we have to work around these actual limitations, which I think is very, very cool.
Yeah, and perhaps some of the lessons they're learning here like could kind of be applied to modern, maybe. But anyway, they say that if there's one layer, you don't really have a problem. The issues we're seeing now are a conflict between multiple different systems that are meant to load balance server pops, as well as unintended interactions between some fixes that they made. Oh boy.
Yeah. So basically stuff just started to break, and then they tried to fix things and broke them in different ways, which is obviously, whatever the 99 bugs fix, take one down, fix it, 100 bugs, that thing.
I suppose is the thing here, like, is layering, that's a different system to sharding, though. Like, I'm fairly sure that's a different system to sharding, but I mean, it's probably using a lot of the same tech.
Yes.
But it does, like, literally work differently, I believe.
Kind of the same.
Okay, so interesting then. They basically have people, many people joining groups, often using external tools to coordinate. If a player leader organizes several, I'm down a little bit from there, organizes several full raids to all congregate in one layer, that layer then hits a threshold, and then it stops trying to add people, but for a time it will continue to allow more people to join in order to not break up those groups. So basically, all of the limitations of the system kind of get exposed in a way where they naturally wouldn't be exposed, I suppose, under the, like, original incentives that existed in the world in the past. And that essentially has broken Ashen Vale. Yep,
broke the hell out of it. And I loved reading this whole bit where it's just like, here's the layer manager, here's everything that's happening. And it's just, stuff happens, we need to move people. Or it will break. So we're trying to make things work. And it is full, like, small team spaghetti code stuff, which I think is great to see them actually playing with it, like, back and forth. Like, even like every time we'd retire a layer, it would cause players to change layers as the manager rebalanced and redistributed folks. And you kind of go, oh well, yeah, I could see that happens because it's a load balancer. But the act of being load balanced is disruptive because it changes the world state, because you're moving to a literally different world, which I think is really cool.
So yeah, that is just like dominoes.
Yeah,
as different systems bump players to another system, and oh my god, software engineering fun time. Because like every time you, I suppose, write a specific for-purpose solution to one problem, that's all it does. And maybe there will be problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fascinating.
That ended up getting people, like, it ended up adding a bug where progress would reset because of, and I loved this as well.
Blizzard are so desperate for engagement that they're literally edging their players.
Yes.
Wow.
That's it.
I cannot believe you've done this, Mikey Barra.
Specifically, he is the edgelord. I'm never going to say edgelord again. Damn it!
Oh no!
Why did I ruin this for myself? But yeah, there was a bit where, so as like he goes on to explain here, the progress tracker is an aggregate of progress across every layer. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Because they didn't want people layer hopping. Because they just go, oh, join the layer that's done. So they went, okay, well, every layer, it's an aggregate, so everything starts at the same time. That's what we want to do. So we'll design the system for that. Then they're like, oh, well, we retired a layer with high progress. So that progress gets pulled out of the average. So it looks like the progress is just jumping. pretty like badly up one way or the other way, which I think is really like you could see how everything comes together to really to these like really super like edge cases that I think are fucking fascinating. And the same whenever they would spin up a new layer, and that's just like, oh yeah, well we've just added. So you're now averaging by, say, instead of 9, you're averaging by 10 numbers, and the 10th number is just 0. Or like you've just brought the average down again, and that was just like people knowing that. But how do you fix it? Well, you go back to the way where it isn't aggregated or averaged out,
Yeah.
and then that's going to result in a bad problem. So it is like which experience is the worst? Which experience are you willing to let players have? Because you have to like choose because of limitations. And I really like the honest and openness around that. Even like the edge case with the battles becoming stalled and objective trackers kind of breaking. It's like, oh yeah, sweet. It just we tried to fix it and broke it even further. Which is literally just like that.
And then that's so hard
thing.
because what do you want to do? Fix problems immediately for your players who are experiencing them.
Yeah, and they're trying like it.
Yeah. Then I guess what happens, you spend 7 days trying to fix things and somehow the whole thing is still kind of messy.
Yeah, precisely. And then immediately it's like, right, well here, what are we doing? We'll have fix tomorrow. We'll no longer be killing layers. So give me more layers because if we kill them when it's up, it causes problems. So we aren't going to do that anymore. And here's literally like, there will be more layers than needed and the world may feel more empty. And it's like, yeah, this is the downside of what we're doing. There will be a problem that our fix is causing, but it's a problem that we've chosen that's better than the problem that we're fixing. And then increasing number of kills to kind of flatten the thing a little bit up.
Well,
Cool, yeah.
So what have we learned? We've basically learned if this makes your brain be tickled, you should probably try being a software engineer, or kind of in that sort of field. I think the main thing we've learned is all of this is downstream of this being, I think, a really good idea. Yeah. And this is totally an idea that modern WoW should nab. And I suppose whenever people think about a Classic Plus, this feels like a really cool evolution of the sorts of things they could do in a Classic Plus. Because like most people were thinking, Black Fathom Deeps, runes. And this has actually ended up being a fairly major component. Mm-hmm. So overall, sick. Let's roll.
Yep. Ultimate issue, collision of game design and server engineering systems that damage experience when they clash. I love it. So shout out to Agron for another incredible bit of communication, because that is sick as hell.
Yeah, no, those are good fun. Tell you what, Matt, just to get us warmed up, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rocket through all the things that have happened in World of Warcraft this week for everybody. Right, so, Great Vault slots. I didn't raid last week because big busy. But look what Dakor got. He's, in fact, got many rings in his.
Nice.
Yeah, very good. Right, yes or no in chat. Has your vault made you happy?
My vault made me happy because there was items in it. I actually got the Balefire branch, which is like the third best drink I could ask for. But of course, it was in the slot with the lowest item level, so now I'm out of flight stones. I kind of, I didn't really talk about it too much, or I didn't really understand it when we had the Where's the Flight Stone segment last stream.
Oh, dude,
because
totally.
I hadn't been playing, and now that I've been playing, I'm like, oh yeah, where's my flight stones, please, Jesus.
Yeah, if you try to upgrade a weapon, especially a two-hander, I mean, makes sense for a two-hander. But yeah, you can eat through that shit real quick. The next thing, right, Farak, LFR. The final wing is open with Tindral and Farak. Of course, there is powerful gear there, and it means you can actually, complete the campaign on characters that are not raiding. And that means you can, go do that final chapter. Also, there's a new Revival Catalyst charge this week, which is pretty damn good. As long as you've got one bit of tier from another source, you can now get your 4 set. Also, the Dream Surge Worm Chest is now purchasable again, which is actually really big, because most of you won't need that Dream Surge, chrysalis gear, unless you're, going for Transmog or something. I don't think that makes sense. Anyway, yeah.
That stuff wasn't...
It wasn't unique, yeah. Yep. So, basically, you can get 15 Worm Crests if you're, a Heroic Raider. That is pretty damn handy, and it takes no time to bang that out. Then, Comp Stomp is here. Basically, you go to Arathi Basin, and, you slaughter, because it's AI NPCs. It's a really fast way of getting honor, which means if you want to get a new character into PvP, you can do that. But it also That means if you want to get those armor appearances, which are usually the more like kind of red, like darker color, sort of mean, nasty PvP looking color tints, you can get those pretty damn easy by doing that. Also, Winter Veil begins tomorrow? Tomorrow, yes, the 16th of December. So you can go and do that. WoW have got a guide for it. It's also World Quest bonus week. And there you go, Matt.
Is that it?
That's everything that's going on in World of Warcraft this week.
Sweet, not a whole pile, but...
Not a whole pile.
Actually having access to Farak to do that story will be very, very useful.
I do, though, have quick PSA. You have got until January 5th to migrate from the Battle.net Authenticator standalone app to the full, complete Battle.net mobile app. Do I think that it is kind of in shitification by default if you have to get an app with way more features than you need in order to get the one feature that you want in a way where, you know, it's like a chat and social app, so it doesn't feel like that's a kind of use case. It's correlated with being an authenticator app. So to me, it does kind of fall under in shitification. That being said, it's a pretty good app. So
certainly used worse. I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone's used some god-awful piece of nightmare fuel app for authentication and stuff like that.
And with that, we can talk about the real news that people might care about. Okay.
Let's go!
The first encrypted build of World of Warcraft, The War Within, has hit Blizzard's CDN. That's their Content Delivery Network, which probably means that if you are Blizzard employees, or maybe friends and family, maybe just employees at this stage, but this is what's needed to make it so that they can just get the most recent build on their own Battle.net app, as long as, like, you know, they're obviously whitelisted, their account's got the stuff, and that means they can play the expansion. So, yeah, they've probably got a test build that they're playing over Christmas, or at least have access to.
Yeah, I imagine that's the perfect time for, just play the new expansion. It's like 8 months, 9 months before it's out. Enjoy. Everything will be good and the experience will be perfect. Which is interesting. We shouldn't expect anything actually to hit public from employees or from like friends and family, basically. So this is kind of like, this is more or less just us knowing, well, in the next period of time we will have alpha for more public stuff, just not immediately.
Yeah. So overall then, that's good. Now we can do some fun with dates. This is one of the first public milestones of the development of this expansion, other than obviously it being like announced and, you know, blog posts and stuff, but of actually firm development, because this is like a gate that it's passing through, a new level of testing that it's entering. In the past, for Shadowlands, the first encrypted build was the 19th of February, and 50 days later, the alpha actually started. Now, for Dragonflight, it was 83 days later that the alpha started. If we were to follow Dragonflight, then we could be looking at like basically early spring. I think it's like sometime in March. So that's pretty cool. And in terms of release dates, if it was only 220 days after the first encrypted build, as it was with Dragonflight, then good news, Matt, the expansion's coming out the 17th of July.
That's about where I'd expect. I'd expect July, August, like.
So 17th of July, I think that's definitely a big no. But how aggressive could it be? That is the question.
Really?
Because you see, if it followed with the delay of what's that one that I don't like to talk about? Slans, yes. Then it would be coming out in September. However, the release date would be August 18th if it was following the speed. I can't believe I know this. Okay, we'll double check if it's right. Battle for Azeroth came out August 28th, and Legion came out 14th of August.
I don't know, but that sounds about right. I know Legion was August.
No, I got it the wrong way around. BFA was the 14th.
I was going to say, I was pretty sure Legion was end of August.
Legion was the 29th. Yeah. Oh, I was so close. Yeah. Right, so August 18th is basically bang on the original schedule that WoW used to have. But do you know what's kind of weird then? That would put Midnight as coming out. Would they really do that? That would mean that Midnight would be coming out, relatively speaking, around the same time that the Burning Crusade came out after its delay. Which, because it's involving Blood Elves,
incredible.
Yeah, that is me connecting dots that are absolutely uncorrelated. But of course, we're dealing with 18-month expansions, so we actually do have that thing where you cannot keep a solid 2-year plan anymore. At some point, I suppose that's the thing. They probably just realized they're retaining their players better with their patches. maybe they don't need to hyper optimize. Like, maybe they've worked out that having more expansions with better retention is better than slightly fewer expansions with worse retention, but better optimized expansion launch times. I mean, I don't even know how much really release date impacts sales. Like, it's common wisdom that it does, but I mean, it's not like August. I mean, yeah, what does that shit mean anymore? You know, it used to be everyone would be like, oh my god, November, Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed are coming out. What will the rest of us do? And now the games industry is just like that. I mean, it is now, but like there's massive games every 2 months.
Yeah, it is. It is like kind of every single year it happens where we joke about. They're like, okay, well, what's coming out in like September to preempt November? What games are going to beat Call of Duty to release in that holiday season? Because obviously the whole thing is like holiday season is not just like because that's where Call of Duty is. It's always the Christmas money. It was always release your game and then people will buy it because they'll be getting gifts for people, or they'll have their money saved, stuff like that. And you don't release games too much in the in January because everyone's out of money. And it's funny that's like a global thing. It's January, nobody's any money, nobody's buying anything. It's just that's the way it is. So, but it's gotten to the point where games release in like August and September to be out ahead of the holiday season, and if you don't get your game out by October, it's too late because November's stolen. And the amount of times you see a game be like, well, we didn't quite release in October, so we're not doing November, and you don't release in December because why would you do that? So we'll release in like can't do January, so February, and you'll see like this the big year of video games is 2023 is just happening in 2024 again. Just in like the end of January on is a bloodbath for incredible games the whole time. So it's like, I think we're at that point where like, obviously Blizzard won't care too much about the industry in like as a whole there because they're a little bit insular with who they are. But at the same time, I don't really think they care too much about that. I'd say avoid in January. Yeah, I think they'll just kind of just do whatever they feel like, whatever works.
They have so many things going on. I doubt they're going to be able to like move things around for Dawn Trail. Yeah, like given just the sheer bulk of WoW's content cadence, I feel like things like that don't matter amidst the like bigger picture, essentially.
Yeah, I think if they were to clash with a competitor, they would take that as they wouldn't. Yeah, like you're saying, they wouldn't move to that. If the opportunity presents itself, they'd be like, oh yeah, well.
I mean, they totally would. Yeah, they would have in the past, and they will if they can. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, kind of fascinating.
It is.
I suppose then, season-wise, 6-month season. When did this season start? Start in November? Yeah, it was just after BlizzCon. Yeah. It's like the 7th of November.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so this season ends in May. How long was season 4 of Shadowlands?
I don't remember.
It was started the 2nd of August and ran until the 25th of October.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, yeah, it was only a few months.
Yeah, that's the thing where a theoretical season 4 here would be really small.
But the Fated raids continued up until November. Yeah. So the season itself, I mean, last time it lasted 3 months. So then if you have May being the start of season 4, May, June, July, August, which is where things already lined up and made sense.
Sorry, I got distracted by the fact that you counted 4 things with 3 fingers.
Really?
Yeah.
God,
yeah, you went like May, June, July, August. I'm like, what?
I think of course, I counted 0.
No. Wait. That'll be more then.
What?
You counted 4 things with 3 fingers.
What? May plus 3 months is August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying you said 4 things and you moved 3 fingers.
Yeah, May, June, July.
Perfect.
Spot
on, yes.
So basically, right, we're looking at... I've just got to mention
August.
Now. We're looking at August.
Always August. Every August.
Screw
August, 100%. 100% August.
In fact, Matt, let's take our bets. And maybe we will remember this and we will call back to this very moment. Matt, pick a Tuesday. Your Tuesdays are the 6th, 13th, 20th, and 27th. I think I'm going to put mine on the 20th of August.
27th.
27th.
Yeah, we'll see. None of those feel right to me.
Statistically, you're far more likely to win.
Yeah.
Matt's probably already. Congratulations, Matt. You've won the competition. Well done.
I tend to win things immediately.
So yeah, there we go. That's when the expansion's coming out.
Yep.
Book your time off work now, folks. A whole month of August, just to be sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then it comes out the 27th, and you're just sat there like, what do I do for 27
Pre-patch.
days? Oh, yeah, of course.
Farming pre-patch, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Prepping all your characters. What the hell else would you be doing? Theory crafting.
Anything
on
else.
Beta.
Oh, yeah, just like running keys on beta to practice.
Yeah. I mean, if it comes out at the end of August, you may have 1 to 2 push weeks left. Wouldn't that be a thrill? So, there we go. Good news. Next, though, drama.
I love drama.
Drama.
What did I just...
So I saw this post go up, and then I checked back on Twitter a little bit later, and oh boy, it really went places. Because the tweet itself, it had 1 point something pretty damn big million views last time I saw it. Let's see, what's it got now? 1.9 million views. So that's got quite, I mean, that has,
views, yeah.
In fact, according to a 100% totally accurate, because X's advertisement rates have definitely not went down over the last few months, $49 apparently.
Insane.
At one point in time is what that tweet would have been worth. But again, I'm fairly sure that X advertising's fallen by like 50%. Anyway, so yeah, this is the drama. Blizzard just have this post that says, "Get the Dragonflight raid ready boost." And I think the thing that's happened here, because like they do this every expansion, where when the new expansion gets a pre-order, the level boost gets upgraded to the level cap of the current expansion. I wonder if this is just that the relative gear is a bit better, that it's like a bit more player-friendly, but that's actually, in fact,
problem.
what we call the meat of this entire discussion, so that'll be interesting. But certainly this is a way better marketed boost, because it's not just marketed as a boost. So I imagine their conversion rate will be way higher here. As they say, up to 20 renown with 5 major factions, first 5 mounts, Dragon Isles catch up, flight, paths, supplies, 30 slot bags, and more. And yeah, you get item level 424 gear. Now, it's 424, but if memory serves, it is... Yeah, no, it's not. It's not on any of the upgrade tracks. So it's not like you can upgrade that gear. You will have to, go and get real gear that can be upgraded if you actually sort of want to play within the system. This basically just means you go immediately to Emerald Dream, and you can do things.
Yeah, it's kind of like... It's a little bit of a nothing burger, right? At least I think, anyway. I'm sure, obviously pointed out,
I think we've in fact, man, found one man who will disagree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah.
So as Rurikan says, bro, I quit. See us, we keep monetized. Bro, I quit! What's even the point? Just sell ahead of the curve while you're at it, or even cutting edge. Sell everything! Why even play the game? So, I'm fairly sure this is what we call a tweet. And therefore, it's not exactly a treatise. It is, in fact, somebody's reaction to something. Which is probably why everyone's going to see this and be like, I cannot believe he has said this. Okay, the amount of people jumping in this thread to defend Blizzard, milking them for money, is exactly why nothing will ever change. And the assumption I don't even know how week 424 is also hilarious. People acknowledge it's a noob trap and defend the practice. Is it a noob trap? Or is it just saying you don't have to do a few hoops, before you do the new stuff? Also, it's not an additional thing. It's the same price as a boost anyway. So this is more about Blizzard calibrating at what point the boost does. So does the boost launch you into 10.0, or does the boost launch you into 10.2? And this launches you into 10.2. Yeah, I'm fairly sure back in Mists of Pandaria, the original boost, whenever that... Because I think, did it get upgraded to a max level boost? No, I don't think it did. You know what? I forget. I'm not even gonna.
I don't recall. I think I want to say yes, but I don't know. I think the yeah, that's basically spot on. Lowering the barrier to entry is only good. IMO, and that's the thing where if this was a new product, if this was them going, hey, this is a new thing we're introducing.
Oh, this is the starter pack.
Yeah,
We riot.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be frustrating and furious, but what this really is a slight reframing on the boost that is a bit more useful. And obviously say, well, it's a bit more useful. It's more, it's more skipping, more getting right there. It's because you're paying for it, they're offering more, and that's a bad thing if you think boosts are bad anyway.
Yeah,
which is kind of the really like the complicated thing. So like, it's not even too much to like actually really chew the fat on here, because it's like the 20 renown is probably maybe the most aggressive part of it, because that's
in
just
my head, yeah.
Because that's just you can skip all the grinding that you have to do. You don't do all the old shit, which is just straight up and you're back to your hop into this patch, which feels new, but also it only makes sense because imagine if it dropped you 10-0 with like shit gear and no idea what to do and 40 billion quests right on top of your head.
Yeah, that's where it gets kind of interesting, because you think about the purpose of the level boost. Blizzard basically want is seamless experience to play in game with your friends right now. So this is obviously calibrated in order to do that. It was more just it was interesting to see how much this like truly exploded. As as Jordan said, 1.2 million impressions lit over a day. Flex, we got an upper bait game. Yep.
That's
quality.
That's a lot of replies.
So Blizzard say raid ready. Now that is assuming that LFR is raid. And I suppose it is.
Well, it is, yeah. And
it is looking for raids, and you probably can get in that with 242 gear, which means you can buy this boost, do the campaign, do the raid, kill Frack, finish the campaign.
Yeah.
Maybe that is, in fact, why they've scheduled this post to be in and around where Farak comes out on LFR. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't even think that's new. I think it's been there like that for a while. We're seeing it.
So what this is, though, this is Mythic Vault of the Incarnates gear. Normal Aberrus gear. And Explorer 4 out of 8, which is basically the lowest of the low. Almost. You basically get better gear from repeatable and weekly activities extremely quickly up onto the Adventurer track and even the Veteran track as well. So yeah, as Noggy says, you can literally fly around the Dream Search for 40 minutes and get full 447 gear without dismounting or doing a single point of damage by just picking up the little ball things. Right. And yeah, I even forgot about the I forgot about that stuff that's there. And also this is non-upgradable gear. So because this is upgradable gear, it basically isn't like real gear in terms of how the game is designed right now. This is basically just, here is floor gear, now you can engage with it. Thing is, though, and I guess that's why I find this to be interesting, is, you know the way words, right? Actual words don't contain a massive amount. I mean, words do contain information, yes, but often the context that's led to those words. That's what really, often contains the information. People talk about like tone of voice, body language, all of these things. Now, what happens on Twitter whenever somebody... Because imagine if, like, he said that in Discord. People probably be like, it's a bit much, but, whatever. Whereas it happens in text, and like, he put it to print! Here it is! I don't think it's seriously saying, just sell raid gear, sell normal raid gear, anything like that. But, Blizzard,
Yeah, I could see people thinking that, like... Yeah. I'm trying to think of like what decent analysis could be had of this. I think, well, actually, I'll just look at chat, of course, because people are talking about things. Yeah, thanks for Super Trucker saying, I got to 420 in 1 week from dailies, weeklies, time walking. This is basically just a quest skip. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. It's do you want to play literally right now? Do you want to go into the raid and play the raid? Or do you want to M+ with your mates now? Starting from a vaguely decent level on our character? Yeah, definitely. And thanks, Sonic Marsh, saying, doesn't it feel like they're admitting that any prior content is dead or bad and not worth investing any time into? It's like buying God of War with a 90% finished save. Why pay to not play? That's
what's the experience?
That's like I could see where you would like come to that when you think of like the expansion content, but you can't play the expansion content before. Like you can't gear up in Season 1 Mythic Plus. You can't go and do Vault of the Incarnates the way it was. This is the game now. You can go and do that anyway, but it's literally like this is not really skipping any gameplay. I'd say like the quest stuff. It's not actually like just discarding any of prior Dragonflight stuff because that's already discarded by the nature of the seasonal model. As was mentioned there, it's like I mean, the only difference is like the renown stuff, where maybe you won't go do a load of the world events. That not really many. I imagine not that many people are doing anymore because everyone's filled up the renown anyway. So it is just like, yeah, it's a good point though that they did increase the eye level rewards of the other content. So there's a little bit of a weirdness there, but that's only like a minor clash. I think. I genuinely think like this is. Yeah,
I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
It's not bad at all.
I don't really care. I don't think it's.
I don't think it's bad at all. Like.
It's literally just start game now. So is it a nothing burger? I think basically yes. There are other boosts in the game that have done stuff that is similar. This is more a reaction to marketing, I think, than the literal power being sold. And if the marketing is having that strong of a negative reaction from a small number of people, that likely tells you that this marketing will have quite a strong positive impact on people's purchase decisions. Again, I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but if you've nailed it so effectively that somebody is legitimately like that mad, like that means that the effectiveness of your marketing is emotionally dialed to the point where people will care one way or another. People will get the click. So yeah, per the core tenets of marketing, this will do well. And of course, Rurikan himself has inadvertently driven many, I mean, Phil Asmund Gold TV video on it probably, right?
I imagine so, yeah. I imagine. I think
Blizz is going to make money.
I think Asmund was, and I didn't watch the video, but I saw a couple comments. I think he was largely in agreement with Rory about it. I think maybe, or at least a little bit. I'm not quite sure.
Either way, boom, it's out there.
Yeah. I know.
So.
I was just commenting what I knew.
Marketing successful.
Yeah, I think the other thing here is like, it's kind of no. This is not going to lead to any of this stuff because Blizzard knows this stuff isn't playing the game, and we would be mad. Basically, like they're like, this is what we can get away with, and this is what people want to do. People want to press the button and then get into LFR, and everyone pointing out the WoW token and gold boost and stuff. Yeah, obviously, it's just that that's not an official service, so that's not an official service. I guess it is technically because like the trade services channel is there. Yeah, sort of. But it's like, no, that's not. This isn't really anything changing. It just makes like the perfect sense. It makes perfect sense to go, well, do you want to play the game? You can play the game now. In the same way that if you're like playing Destiny 2 and you have a character you haven't touched in a billion years and like actually log into it, it will throw you somewhere that you won't understand, but somewhere closer than where you were when you didn't play it or when you're playing like a year or two ago. Yeah. It'll throw you somewhere. So, here's your light levels all like just start. Everyone move up to the starting line. Although I did see someone saying it was like, was it? I can't remember who it was, but someone in chat said like, wouldn't that mean the correct thing to do is like every character is just like, you can just make a level 70 character at 44 or something like that, because that's actually access to the game in a way. And that's true, because I think it was as Azrael says, yeah, but you've already paid for the game. So there's a little bit of the boost is, do you want to pay for the game you've already paid for? I mean, it's a little bit of that, but
it has been like that for a long time.
Yeah.
2014 to be precise.
Yep.
We're almost on the 10-year anniversary of the boost. How exciting. Yeah.
Fantastic. Just everyone.
There you go. Is there anything else to say? No, in my view. probably.
I could talk for a long time about anything, and even I'm kind of going. I think we're.
That's it. We have
wrung this dry.
achieved peak signal to noise. But there was more drama. There was more drama because the warden set. It was about to be broke, but now it is saved.
It was broke.
Was broke
for almost the whole year.
For almost the whole year, basically. Data miners. Okay, no, from the front. In the first month that the trading post came out, you were able to get a warden-themed mount that had a sun form and a moon form that changed based on the time of day. There then is a matching set for that. Loads of data miners basically were the canaries in the coal mine saying, hey, right, color-changing set, pretty cool. Bit of a problem, though. What if people want to, like, put these in their transmog, and then they change color? That'll obviously be a problem, so even though it is cool for a whole bunch of people, it won't even be fit for purpose. Which basically means that, you know, you can only really use this, like, itself with its accompanying mount, which kind of degrades the value of it. Blizzard, though, didn't really do anything while the data miners were trying to raise that. Then I believe what happened is Blizzard themselves made a post about this reward, where in their post they said it is color changing only. Everybody said, no, it really shouldn't be that. And then very rapidly, Blizzard said, fair enough then. We agree. And now you're going to get a sun version, a moon version, and a color-changing version.
Yeah, straight up. There you go. And I will not get it. Because I didn't finish the trading post in October.
Same, and I actually think for me it was October.
Sorry, no, it was in November. Yeah. It was November I didn't do. It was November I didn't do because I forgot to do it before I left, and I was away until December started, and I was like, sweet, whatever.
Brutal.
It's fine. It's fine. I don't want it fucking anyway. It's very pretty. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I will like to get it once I do.
The 1st of January. That's what you can do during your hangover.
Yes.
So basically, that was.
I won't be hungover on the 1st of January. I drank that much on New Year's Eve. I just stayed drunk the whole day.
Yeah. There we go.
So yeah, everyone's very happy.
Yeah.
Everyone's very, very, very happy.
Which certainly does mean this is not a story that we can spend much time on because there's nothing else to say. Good thing happened, done.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things to say. Such as, sweet Jesus, why did it take a year? Why did it take a year to fix this?
Good question.
And also,
because the developers hate the game and the player base.
We knew that. Like,
you
obviously. Yeah, me especially. 100% me especially. I haven't got a single piece of tier that I could use. So I'm sat here in 2 piece like a dumbass Catalyst.
In 2 raid nights?
Yeah. In 3 raid nights.
3 now?
Yeah, last week and 3.
I see.
Yeah, no, absolutely scundered by it because I just want my 4 piece so I can actually stop feeling like a useless bell end. Sat there, 20 item levels below everyone else in the raid because I can't get any fucking stuff and keys. No one will do keys with me. So I'm sat there like doing keys of 1 or 2 people.
I like how your implication there is they'll do the keys with other people.
Yeah, and then sat there getting pugs in who like over pull and then leave once they pull and get killed.
Enjoy living in hell.
Yeah, my vault was okay actually, so I can't really complain. But yeah, no, to be actually serious, I think that this is it's a fix. And Blizzard are fixing stuff recently, and I haven't seen them fix or like. I genuinely thought this was going to go live the way it was. I'm still in like at some part of me, I am still in Shadowlands brain. Or I'm still just going, well, that's horrible. Guess we'll just deal with it. Guess we'll just live with it. I guess that's just going to be how it is because that's how it's been forever. Blizzard say they're doing a thing and then we go, that's moronic. Please don't do that. And then they turn around and go, well, they don't even turn around. They just sit with their backs to us, diligently working away, making decisions we don't like. But that's the past. I think this is in one of the small details that cements it. That if this was Shadowlands, that would have went live the way it was. But in this case,
yeah.
But now they fixed stuff now.
Because for some reason in Shadowlands, it was just impossible for anyone in the company to do anything.
Yes,
so nobody really knows why.
Yeah, but now you get it fixed.
Yeah. So There you go. Overall, good news. Right. Next thing, community council interview. So, actually, some fairly interesting things here. I'd say the major one, though, is about the trading post. So, obviously, trading post, the total amount of tender that you can spend every month has been increasing. Also, they've started doing bundles. People started to think, then get more expensive. Bundle with extra tender. Now, I think people are fine with there being tender included in an expansion, as an example. But, the little bouquet flower thing, Corsage, that had 200 tender, or the Transmog set, that was the most expensive one they've ever put out, even though it was super simple looking, and also just had 500 bonus tender. So you're like, oh, this is kind of for the tender. Basically, they've got no plans to do any more smaller store bundles for tender. The early ones are an experiment that they will not continue going forward. Ian did say, obviously, plans may change, but that is currently what's going on. The quote from him, the quote from him is that they see basically, they don't see it as a major form of monetization, a major vector, as he said. Also, when it came to, why am I treating this like it's a video where, I like pause and restart again? That makes no sense. They've also said they're looking at additional ways to let people earn more tendies in game. Now, that could be interesting. What does that look like? Do they just stretch the bar out? Because, they're not going to give you more for doing the same amount. They're going to want to, have a carrot.
It's interesting because, because there's no reason that you fill the bar and then you're done, right? As in,
they could
could always just say like,
going.
Yeah, the bar fills up and then you just keep
like
getting,
what they did over the summer.
After,
yeah. So they could do that. I was wondering if they wanted to do it without the bar, like maybe. Okay, because I know that like the micro holidays, they do contribute with like bonus, journal progress. Yeah. Could maybe try throwing some tender in those, but then that could be tricky because some of those are kind of short. I don't know. But tender's maybe something they can play with more. Anyway, so they've said that, and also that the overall cost of things isn't increasing over time. It is mostly them adding previous rotation items back in, but then, yes, if you exclude the class sets, which were pretty costly. I think we've had some one-off items, like some pets that have been fairly expensive for what they are. The candy cane one-handed sword, the 600 tender, feels a bit much to me.
Yeah, I think they're smoking crack.
Well, there you go.
He's
only went and bloody said it.
I think the cost of things is increasing. I don't know. That's my lived experience. How dare they deny it?
There you go.
I can't afford shit anymore.
At some point, we should find out if this is literally true.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's stuff going on.
You could calculate the average store price per new item. Or, there's like a few, you could do an average, a median. There's like a few different analysis you could do.
I definitely feel like there are items that I've seen that I went, that shouldn't be worth that much.
I've definitely felt that too.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's a case of that. It's like not literally like true of everything's gonna. We have planned prices for things, and we stick to that plan. We stick to those prices, etc. Like that. But like the amount of candies are asking for like specific things is dire, and it is just like even if the overall cost of things isn't there, you like. Still, you look at the number that you need, and the number that you need is way too big. So there's kind of that like, that just it's becoming a worse experience for me by virtue of that. Because I feel really intensely like cost limited a lot of the time, which is one of the awkward parts of how do you balance choice to feel good, because you want people to make a choice, because then the thing you choose is that not actually a.
Are you going to do a psychology on us?
Yeah. Is that not the studied thing where people were like asked to choose like a painting and they always like trended to like the thing they chose more over time? And it's like my English is really bad today. I literally don't remember words that I'm trying to remember.
He's a sleepy boy.
Yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, it was basically supposed to be, people choose things, feel good, like thing more, because they chose it, because they specifically chose it, not because of whatever. So like you want to have that effect, and that's what the trading post is about. It's about that meaningful choice. You get the meaningful choice of which sword you want, but the other side of that is the not getting everything feels bad.
That's the thing. If you want to defeat your enemy, don't give them problems, give them dilemmas. And a little bit of that can happen because it's common knowledge in sales that if you give a customer too many options, like at a certain point, they'll just be like, I am out of here. Goodbye.
Yeah, was that the pasta sauce experiment?
The pasta sauce experiment, yes.
Pasta
or whatever it is. Yeah, if you give people too many options, they'll just get, they'll just won't feel great. Now, the thing then in with this in WoW,
jam was jam.
If you want to get one decent item and then a bunch of the cheap things, like the little customization bits are like 50, 100, 150, you'll feel fine. But the second you want two big things and then you're profoundly aware that I want to get this mount and this sword, and that costs more than you earned that month. Now you're giving people dilemmas. And the thing is, people aren't your enemy. So now you're giving people dilemmas. And that means that the cognitive load of the system increases for them. Whereas if they're just hoovering up a bunch of small little things in a shop, then they feel like, that they feel like they're just going in there as a sort of hoodwinked customer. It's like, you go into the shop in normal life, you buy a few things. I suppose, I don't know, I'm not obviously not talking about some silly expensive designer store or something, which is obviously not what the trading post should be modeled after. So yeah, I wonder if there's some sales psychology there that even if what they're saying is true, makes it feel bad to players. But then there's also that for a quarter of the trading post's life, it's been so much more expensive every month because of just shy of 3,000 tender worth of class items being there. So I wonder then, in January, will we see numbers move away from being 9,000? Will they go back to maybe being 7,000, 6,500? That'll be the big question.
Yeah, I imagine so. And yes, I did want to make sure I wasn't actually talking shite. So it's the free choice paradigm is a paradigm in psychology. After a choice between two similarly pleasant stimuli, the pleasantness of the chosen one tends to increase, whereas the pleasantness of the rejected one tends to decrease. Spreading of alternatives. So yeah, basically, if you choose something, you like it more, and that's the whole thing. That's the thing. I also, when I was going about the internet, I also noticed that our favorite WoW Classic game producer, Agrant, had a tweet saying, "Looks like players have discovered our little Darkmoon Fair surprise. Enjoy the increased Darkmoon Fair cadence in Season of Discovery and happy holidays." So literally just there's more Darkmoon Fair. Enjoy. That's cool. I like that. I very much like that.
It's a great example of just don't tell players anything.
Yeah.
I think that's worked out so well. It seems the community buzz on this one's been really strong. Actually, we don't have a segment for it, but another nice thing, they published a video. I think it's called Season of Discovery by the Numbers or something. But it's kind of cool because it kind of feels like a YouTube video, as in not a random corporate thing. It basically feels like a sort of in-house YouTuber situation almost. I don't know who the individual is doing the VO or producing that video, but a pretty good example of Blizzard themselves maybe producing some content kind of inspired by some of the partner work they've been doing. So I thought that was kind of neat as well. Basically, yeah, Season of Discovery, the amount of bang for their buck they must be getting is insane. I'd love to see what their, cost of sales? What is their cost of sales between the two products? And I know it's really hard to work that out because they have a shared subscription. So that probably makes it challenging. Yeah. But seriously, just think about that. It's such a smaller team than to keep Modern WoW going, 600 people.
Yeah, it was funny.
It's impressive.
Jared and I were talking a little about that yesterday, and I hope that tiny team gets rewarded for the amount of sales they're actually generating, because that's crazy efficient. And obviously, a lot of their efficiency probably comes down to the fact that not just efficiency but agility comes down to the fact that they are a small team, and even going through a lot of the runes and stuff that are added, it's all or the vast majority of it is stuff that exists in Modern, in the client. So they can just copy paste the code and it should mostly work. because I think it was
certainly built. It's built off the back of a lot of modern work.
Yeah, so there's like I can't remember what it was specifically. It was like Shadow Strike and stuff like that. And I was just it was between the eyes and Shadow Strike that Jared was saying rogues can use, and I was just like, oh yeah, they're just abilities. They're just getting abilities from modern game and putting it into classic game.
It's all pretty. It's a pretty similar game version. All that stuff's using. Anyway.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, they just copy paste the work that's been done, slide it in properly. Yeah, that's nice. That's cool. That's very interesting that they're hyper efficient that way because they don't have to do that much. Obviously, they still make content, so it's like, I guess it's about how much efficiency they could do that on like a wider scale. If they decided to go, well, we're going to make a new zone, then they'd have to scale up a little bit for literal people need to do the stuff. But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so there you go. That's pretty good news. To move on then with, I suppose, the interview stuff. Dragon riding, they will maybe have there be people making their own courses later on, but there are technical limitations, so not guaranteed. Low drop chance rewards. They think that the Arfis pet from Hallow's End was too low going forward. They want to ensure time-limited holidays and events have more accessible and cool rewards. I think they talked about like the old Dragonhawk being there for tokens for the anniversary event. BFA raids, ones that can't be reasonably sold because of mechanic stuff, will be looked at by the end of Shadowlands. Doesn't seem it's coming in 10.2.5, so likely 10.2.6 or 10.2.7. Mythic Plus, there's no plan for bad luck protection in Mythic Plus, at least in the way that it was phrased in this interview. As for a lore catch-up, they don't think lore delivered through gameplay is the best way to achieve catch-up for returning players. So I suppose that would be like some sort of gameplay system that does that. Instead, they want to move more towards in-game journals and cinematics, things that don't require you to go to YouTube.
I vehemently disagree.
I do as well. I feel like this is a budget thing.
Yeah, that was my exact thought was.
I would say it's like they don't think lore delivered through gameplay. Maybe they should say brackets at the budget we would literally have to make that. Close brackets. Not that I want to start putting in excuses for them, but it's one of those things where like if they were to just say we could spend a massive amount of work doing that. However, new expansion. This is a balancing act. We think, this is a good idea. Maybe that would be the way to phrase that.
Yeah, I mean, best way to achieve this. What do you mean by best way? Do you mean best actual way, including all the production? Probably. But did I see best way and assume theoretical and say, no, it would be the best way? But they mean best way to actually do it.
Yeah.
There's a very subtle difference in what you mean with that like line, which I think is interesting because I would love this. I'm trying to hold myself back. I'm really trying to hold myself back.
That's fine.
Video games for a reason. There you go. That's it. That's the succinct version. The full version is like lore delivered through gameplay. That's what you're a game. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
Just like, we'll do cinematics and journals. No.
At the very least,
people don't want to read. That's a movie. People don't want to watch movies. Show them the game. Make the things happen.
At the very least, think about what they could realistically do. Getting things off YouTube's good.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
if you
100%.
wanted to do this, maybe even Nobble's museum idea is a way to go. I don't know, just have this is the Sunwell exhibition. Which, there'll be a point where people kind of look at that and think, really? But if all that people wanted is a coherent lore summary from place to place to place, such that a WoW character could, go into Nobble's lore museum and explore for an hour and come out knowing a bunch of shit, it's probably not that bad.
Yeah, just put lore walkers in every zone. There you go, done.
Yeah. Archaeology. Once again, they've confirmed triangulation won't return.
Good.
They're working towards what a new archaeology will look like. It seems they wanted to do that for this expansion, but didn't quite get there. And the Azerothian Archives event will be something like their current vision.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting. Does archaeology end up being a sort of an event-based thing or something like that? Again, not really sure. Azerothian Archives is actually testable as of this build of the PTR. That's a release client, a release candidate, but there have been issues with the PTR build recently. Anyway, and then also they did talk about for open world content, basically, the little green eye for matchmaking if you run into, say, a world boss, they may add those for public events of past expansions, and they did One of them did muse, like, what would this be like for leveling? In which case, if the soup is up and the soup just gets you like a third of a level, I think people would be pretty jazzed about that. It would probably lead to a pretty good leveling experience for alts. Okay, that's the Community Council interview. With that, with that talked about, I'm sure there'll be something else for us to talk about. I just haven't brought it up yet. We're nearly at the Venruki video. That'll be fun.
To talk about. There's not a massive slate of things at all. No, sir.
Now let's move through our massive slate. Right, Mythic Plus. Which I know not everybody cares about, but here's the thing that I think matters. Season 3 seems to be getting more player retention than Season 2 did. As in, the absolute numbers of runs of Mythic Plus this season, they are higher than they were last season, which is kind of interesting. So we got a mixture of stats here, some that were shared with us by Nightstalker, others from Banshee IRL, who compiles a lot of this stuff over on Twitter as well. Okay, so then, update, and to celebrate the first Mythic Plus 30 being done, which, I mean, yeah, the dungeons this season are a little bit easier. I wonder what that 30 was. Do we know what it was? I mean, right. Completion stats tell me the first plus 30 would be Blackrock Hold, but I don't know if it has specific mechanics that just inherently descaling, because at least the highest timed key ratio for both weeks, I believe, week 3 and 4, was Blackrock Hold at like 97%. Probably. High 97 as well. High. Anyway, okay, so... we've got all that stuff from them. Looking at the key ranges, though, this is one thing I'll be interested in. Where are the Mythic Plus players? So we got a total of just shy of 10 million keys. Or sorry, we got... I've got a sneeze coming on. No!
Yeah, it's just shy of 10 million. That's 9.8.
You know, you got a sneeze, and then you go, I'm going to sneeze. So it's like, I can't start a sentence because my mouth might explode.
Just put pressure there.
What the hell?
Yeah. Do you ever know that?
What?
Yeah, if you put a lot of pressure on your upper lip, it'll kill sneezing. Or it'll kill the, reflex.
You just do a little impression of a suspicious Austrian
you don't,
from a long time ago.
No, you don't, because you use your whole hand
sneeze
instead of your finger. You do that. You do that.
There we go. That's better.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't need to sneeze anymore.
Yeah.
That's an actual life hack, Matt.
What did you...
That's incredible.
I don't know when or where I learned that from, but yeah.
So, level 2 through 6, 15% of keys. 7 through 11, 19.5%. The biggest range, the two biggest are 12 to 16 and 17 to 21. Rather unsurprisingly, Mythic Plus 20 is where the rewards stop. So,
yeah.
And isn't 17 the sweet spot? Or which one is it? Is it 16? Whatever's the sweet spot for Aspect Crests.
16 gets you Aspect Crests.
There you go. Now, it's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
Does the God Comp... Will the God Comp help a plus 20? Yes. Is it required for a plus 20? No. So, whenever we talk only about Mythic...
17 for Hero Gear, that's right.
Okay. Whenever we talk about the best Mythic stuff... Okay, well, in that case, that's why 17 to 21 is probably our largest bracket. Yeah. I wonder of that distribution between 17 and 21, how many of them are 17 or 18. Anyway...
It's all going to be like that. Bracket's going to be mostly 17s.
The actual point that I'm making here is the highest end of Mythic Plus, where most of the... I don't want to say this in a way that's like degrading or minimizing those players' problems, because that is like a way to play the game that Blizzard clearly intends. So any problems they have are like completely legitimate. But a lot of the problems that stem from just how scaling, how percentage-based scaling works in a video game, they only take place for a relatively small, very small slice of the engaged player base. So even, I wonder, because I've seen a lot of very high-end concerns about like some of Mythic Plus happening this season. But you actually look at the numbers, they're really positive. In the same way, so the percentage of keys that people are timing is higher, and the number of keys people are doing is also higher. Now, you look at then Emir Drasil and Aberrus, those decide to purposefully tune easier and seemingly get more healthy looking player stats, more healthy engagement, one certainly wonders. So to take a look then at the Season 2 weekly numbers, you can see that, and this is Night Stalker, who has been compiling this. I believe he's been tweeting this publicly, so... but he did share it with me in DMs. He's doing awesome data collection here. What's interesting, though, right? Well, look at the y-axis between Season 2 and Season 3. The y-axis is bigger for Season 3.
I'd rather look at the high axis.
The what?
The high axis.
Oh, dude.
It's not even funny. I'm sorry.
Dude. Oh.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, but it has achieved your goal. It has inflicted mental damage to hundreds of people. Could you imagine making that joke in a I don't know, a little, theater space or an event space with 1,000 people in it, or however many people are here?
I love sending mind bullets. Psychic damage is my favorite. My favorite thing to do.
Thank you, Wonder Boy. Mm-hmm. What a track. So, point basically here is you look at Season 3, it has got more runs. If I actually, do I have the numbers here? I don't have them to hand. Anyway, more runs. Season 2 is looking way better than Season 3. And fascinatingly, take a look at the in-time ratio. So Season 3, you can see, it is sitting there in and around 80%. Until, whatever, I don't know if this is, week 7 or 8 for the past season. No, that's Season 2. I don't know what happens right there.
Probably
but
an affix.
Yeah, just before week 10, there's 1 week rams people. Anyway, point basically is for the first 5 weeks of Season 2, and remember during those first 5 weeks, every time we would do a live stream, there'd be another pretty detailed wave of fixes and tuning being made. You look here, and what do you see? We start off at 84%. By the time you hit week 4, you're actually above 90%, with week 3 being just below 90%. That is the percentage of runs that are done in time. And I suppose, if more runs are timed, you could probably then make an argument that probably means more runs will be done.
Yeah.
Because, what's more likely to end a play session? We could maybe try to puzzle that one out.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what ends a play session.
I think you would.
Because I lost a play session on, what day is today? Friday, it was Wednesday.
Where did it go?
I went home and I was like, I'm going to do some keys. I'm going to bugger Leon until he actually comes and does some decent damage. And then went in, had a nice wee... What was it? It was Throne of the Tides? I think it was a 16 Throne of the Tides. No, it was a 14 Throne of the Tides. I was like, okay, sweet, nice. Let's go for a wee 16 Everbloom after that. And then I was tanking, and the mage didn't like that I wasn't tanking very fast and pulled half the place and then just left. I'm like, nice.
Wow.
So I had set myself up for a night of keys. I successfully completed one and then got tilted and did something else. So yeah, I'm sure it happens. I'm sure everyone has stories like that. But it's very much...
Did you just try to play World of Warcraft with pugs?
I just tried to play World of Warcraft bugs.
Oh my god.
Because no one else was around to play. I'm like, cool.
Well,
Nice.
Matt, that would in fact be your issue. Yeah. If you're wondering, by the way, Marzon's Rise is the hardest with an in-time ratio, I think most recently of 83.7%. Yeah, so there you go. As for some of our current class and spec representation, you can sort of let's see how does this change? Does Demon Hunter just become more represented as we go up? The answer is yes. And you can see the meta picks by the time you start looking only at 25 plus and beyond. Man, it's so funny taking a look at the Season 2 with Ogvoker. Ogvoker is not as scrolling down. Yeah. So you can see with Ogvoker, it ain't as chunky as it was in Season 2 with the tuning down they made, but certainly Havoc DH is absolutely bussing right now, but they have been nerfed. Now, here's what's kind of interesting. Is that what this is? No, it isn't. But whatever. I just wonder. Numbers are looking good. Stuff's looking healthy. What percentage of the more, vocal or sort of known about Mythic Plus issues are falling with outside of the scope of 95% of the mode's player base. That certainly is something I wonder about. Now then, what is this? The state of the 0.1% title range composition. Let's see, week 4. Through 4 weeks, this would be our first tank meta with 2 tanks above 30% since Season 2 of Shadowlands. Right, so actually a little bit more competition in tanks. That's a 0 on Windwalker Monks.
Yep, I wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
I mean, is that class even still in the game? Windwalker Monk is probably more fun in Season of Discovery somehow than it is. Or not more fun, because I think it's still plenty fun. It's just...
Yeah. Yeah, I bet Windwalker Monk's really fun there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both have one really shit joke each now.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, everyone. And Season 1 of Dragonflight's the only season we've ever had 3 healers. 25% or higher, so that's kind of interesting. Basically, Prot Paladin and Vengeance Demon Hunter doing pretty good. Priests happy at 31%. 3 healers in there, which is pretty sick. And as for the top DPS, 60% of DPS falls within 3 classes.
Interesting.
So there you go. That is the state of things. Big picture, though, while there's certainly metas that are successful, what's the bit that matters, though? Probably those 17s to 21s and those 12 to 16s.
Yeah.
And if we actually take a look at what's going on in level 14 and up, you can see that, there's definitely a bump up for Demon Hunters. With their 2 specs both performing really well right now. But, it's not as extreme, perhaps, as it is elsewhere. Kind of interesting stats, though. I love looking at this. It's really fun. For me, it's just very positive. Like, look, either we do have fewer players in absolute terms, but those players are playing more of the game. If that's the case, that's good. Or maybe we've been able to retain more players, and that's why there's more runs. That's also good.
Either way, numbers up.
Yeah, either way, number up, good, happy. Tell you what, though, Matt, what if, in fact, number down?
What is number down?
Yeah, because it's time to talk about PvP.
Number down?
The one number that is absolutely, definitely, certainly going down, even though I have no hard data to back that up, other than everyone saying, where are the PvP players? What's going on?
Yeah, you don't need hard data when, everyone's going, I'm not playing anymore. That's hard data.
Yeah.
What?
So, do you know what I love, right? Just go down a little bit and go to the drop down of the other Venruki videos. Just from just the sheer wall of help, please help. This is not working. Please help. Bots. It sucks. And hack client.
Amazing.
Bro is trying to play WoW PvP. The sheer hubris.
Has anyone ever told Venruki that, the whole myth of, if the wind changes, your face will stay like that? Going to be permanently frowning like that?
I remember that, yeah. So, man, PvP's in a really goddamn bad state. And, so many levels, it's almost impressive.
Yeah, it's, it goes beyond neglect, somehow. I feel like if it was left alone in a kind of shitty place, people would be okay. But it's just somehow getting worse and worse and worse, which is funny to me. A little bit sad, but also a little bit funny.
Now, here's what's interesting. Blizzard made a blue post. Community didn't necessarily respond great to it. So that does mean we sure do have a story. To talk about some of the things in Venruki's video, obviously, do check it out yourself. We want to start doing more reaction videos, but for us, this is what a reaction video is. We'll kind of talk about some of their points, forward the discussion, but, try to very clearly leave it that, for the real Venruki experience, you've got to go to his video. And we're just, not going to sit here and hit the space bar and,
go for a piss,
just go for a piss. Yeah, just pull the next QC. So then, things. Seems like this is the lowest PvP participation in recent history since perhaps Shadowlands Season 4, a season that had no new content and was just a repeat of Season 3 with a new mountain title reward. Ouch.
Oof, that's dark.
Oh my God.
That's dark.
Oh. Yeah, Solo Shuffle mustn't have done it. I'm sure he's going to talk about that, or he'll bring that up in the video. Yeah. There are some pretty large outliers in terms of balance. On the whole, actually, it's apparently pretty decent with most specs being viable. There was almost no reason to queue early in the season when there was little to no rating inflation, so instead, go on a break until the very end, where it is easier to push rating, which of course will be useful for getting various things you may want. Venruki.
That's insane to me.
Of course. The participation seems to have fallen so low that the system actually doesn't work as intended. Which is brutal, dude.
Like,
So he did some test matches this week in threes, queuing with an MMR of around 1900 to 2000. He was being matched with R1 Gladiator players each game because of a lack of rating inflation. And this apparently is a reality for anyone who is trying to push their rating. And Dakor on our team, some of his friends, they do PvP, and they pushed 1800 rating last week, and we're going up against multi-clads almost every game. So if you are if you are rating 1800, and you're legitimately wanting to get a higher rating, putting you against Gladiator players, no. Gladiator's what, top 0.1%? So that basically means you're only PvPing with the Mythic Raiders because everyone else has quit. I don't mean literally Mythic Raiders, but like imagine if, normal and heroic mode had like no players and, it's only the most high end. I mean, at least seemingly there's a gulf at some point in rating. So I suppose there's so few players that, you're, oh my God, that's...
Yeah, it's literally an unhealthy, it's a system that doesn't have enough new blood to feed.
Yeah. Why the hell would you get into PvP? There's never any new content ever.
Yeah, and it's not a good experience to get into, which is the worst part.
Imagine if ActiveBliz were like, here's Call of Duty. You'll get one new map or game mode every 3 years. Bye! This wouldn't work. Ratings don't mean anything anymore. With the insane variance that is experienced from season to season because of how inflation works. Used to be decent, but by no means perfect. It used to be a decent way to see how good a player was, and now it doesn't mean as much. After the huge success of Solo Shuffle in Season 1, where people were able to get new personal bests and get rewards they wanted, Blizzard then decided that players should get the most gains in threes instead, so they artificially deflated rating.
Yeah. Yeah, they fiddled. And it wasn't good.
Oh, that's bad fiddle. Okay. It's literally impossible to push past certain rating thresholds in PvP until, of course, Blizzard comes in and offers a morsel of inflation. So you actually need to get Blizzard. It's like everyone is stuck in a conveyor belt, but the conveyor belt is stopped. And you need, like, the Blizzard repair guy to, like, just come and, pull the conveyor belt just forward, like, a meter or two. And then it'll clock off for a few weeks. That's really weird. Imagine if it was impossible to time a Mythic Plus key at even half the level you could do at the end of the previous season. Even if you were a rank 1 Mythic Plus player, that's what it's been like for most of Dragonflight. Oh!
Interesting.
I mean, in terms of rating.
Yeah.
I suppose the thing there is, that's in terms of rating. Obviously, rating doesn't really have much to do with other players unless you're really trying to get those percentage-based rewards.
Yeah.
It's just a fixed amount per dungeon.
Yes and no, because the rating system, obviously, like, the amount of players in it actually, you have to have people with other ratings. Your rating is depending on the rating of the players you beat or lose to.
Oh, yeah, no, that's my point. Whereas a Mythic Plus, it's just dungeon at a key is worth an amount.
Yeah, so it's a little bit like, how to describe it?
Mythic Plus dungeons, but the dungeons are broken. So you can't get rating.
Yeah, it's almost as if you're playing something with like, say like League with its, actual like named leagues. And then they just suddenly turn around one day and go, so we're going to retire like Challenger and Master and Diamond. And now Platinum's the highest league. And I was like, what? If that's the way it starts, you go, okay, sure. But if that's the way it starts, you feel like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm good. What am I, only Platinum? It's a little bit of what it kind of feels like. Because it's like, I guess that's the thing where ratings tied to rewards. As opposed to just being pure actual rating. Because then they could largely leave it alone. And make it a thing about, your skill is your rating. But instead it's...
Aye. So that's what's going on there. The only real progression you have in PvP is rating because of how trivial gearing has become, brackets, which is a good thing. So whenever you aren't able to progress with your rating, the whole thing falls over. Does it feel good to go minus 800 rating each season with periods of many months where you just don't play? Because of how dismal Solo Shuffle queues are, it seems like that has artificially pushed people to play more 2s and 3s. So there's that. Now, we have a segment here in our document called Copium Before the Blue Post. I suppose whenever we do reaction videos, we will try to pull in some external things and stuff like that to spice it up. I've been meaning to make a document about, like, reaction videos with us. Here's how we're going to do them. Anyway, so there's Copium. I see people tweeting. The PvP team are not aware of issues. They do know. They either don't know how to fix it or work on a solution. Give it 2 more days, Monday night. This tweet is sort of sarcastic. We're a full Hopium train. Okay, so here's the situation. We're doomed. Everyone's just making up scenarios of blue posts coming tomorrow, boys. It's like whenever people are opening black markets, unopened black market chests, and they're like, this one is going to be what I need. And it's, complete bollocks every time. Siege, hoping we see some MMR adjustments. Very good. Okay, we're poking Blizzard here if we keep on going down. Sure, I may as well drive it. If I'm doing the talkie drive, I may as well do the driving of this. So what happened? What is the blue post? Uh-oh. So, a post is made that is called PvP is at breaking point already. This is a community council article. Blizzard said this: at the beginning of Season 3, we reduced the maximum rating gap healers could have going into a solo shuffle match across all ratings based on feedback we received. We've seen that's resulted in long queue times at higher ratings. Large dose of surprise. To help address this, about a week ago, we increased the ratings gap moderately, but only at higher ratings, to best preserve matchmaking within the entirety of the ladder. We've been watching the results of changes like that, and we'll continue to watch all these issues very carefully so we can make surgical changes wherever necessary. And do you know what that means to us? Do you know what that primes us to think? Oh, would you look at that? Evidently, they're obviously going about the place, making surgical changes where necessary. Now,
making surgical changes in the same way, the NHS is, which is, sorry, we'll get an appointment in 24 months for you.
Yeah, it's almost like, the person's died because of the waiting list, but you may as well take the corpse in and poke about with it for a bit because, it was on the waiting list.
Yeah,
that's you can see there's some biting commentary in Northern Ireland. People in England think their NHS is screwed. Ours was as bad as yours has been recently for years before COVID happened. something. Stop power sharing. It's breaking our government and ruining the country.
Yeah.
Do you imagine if Sinn Féin just got to, because of the largest party in the country with the most seats,
got to do stuff?
Got to do stuff. The same way if the DUP were the largest party by votes, then they'd get to do stuff. And at least there would be a form of operating government. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, do you know what is existing as if it doesn't have any form of operational government? World of Warcraft PvP. That's it. We're back on track, folks. So this obviously is not a great post because it is kind of saying like that they do make surgical changes wherever necessary. Everyone is then screaming like, yeah, but you are putting paracetamol into the mouth of a corpse. It's like, is that a medical intervention? Yes. Is it missing the point? Yes. This corpse doesn't feel pain. Silly. Doesn't make any sense. What are you doing, Blizzard? Okay, so this basically does feel like they don't know what's going on, didn't read the post they were responding to, etc., etc., etc. Also, no Halinka. Halinka's at a different company. But the point is, they need a Halinka, as in somebody like, oh, that's the PvP person, face of the team. Because, human psychology, it helps. But yeah, PvP basically seems to be absolutely screwed. Of course, to then take a look at some of the new comments then, Matt, after. Yes, I instantly forgot to take control of the show. Yes, but after the aftermath then.
This just isn't really true, though. It has to be the worst response I've ever seen. I don't think they even read the post. 3 issues get brought up in the forum post. Blizzard decides to fix his shuffle queue times for DPS, ignoring 2 other. Yeah. Not even sure how to feel of this. TBH. First solid PvP expansion since Legion. We're practically letting it die. That's interesting. Especially because, that implies that the actual gameplay of PvP is fine and great and everything, but the actual system doesn't work, which is really frustrating because it's like they're close. They're so close. There's a lot of tweets Carlos is very upset, clearly.
Well, see, man,
Nothing beats the skull emoji for how you feel. Like.
This is the degree of research that at this organization we go into, because Dakar actually found every single PvP player in World of Warcraft who's left.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't a sample of tweets. This is actually the whole PvP player base.
Just it.
Shocking.
Yeah, it's such a disgrace. Yeah, depressing, especially after seeing how they're acting towards SOD. Yeah, that's the part that's really frustrating. You look at Season Discovery and go, imagine if you had a weekly class balance post for World of Warcraft. Imagine if you had a post like the one we read earlier on stream of just Agrand going, here's specifically why things are broken and what we're doing to fix it, versus hey, we kind of fixed something, I think.
So right now, basically, World of Warcraft for the longest time has been a chair with 3 pillars, and I don't know, world content has existed.
Chair with 3 legs.
That's the one, 3 legs.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're kind of doing the pillars of, you know, the Great Vault pillars of Mythic Plus, Raid, and PvP, it's just like, guys, your chair's not stable if it only has 2 legs. It's going to fall over. Like, they're lucky. They're lucky that PvP has bled out in World of Warcraft for so long. Like, I just think about how mishandled it's been as a feature. The amount of flip-flopping. Do you remember Battle for Azeroth? When they were just like, I'm so sorry. Did you know? Or the other way, they're just like, well, actually, mathematically speaking, it is optimal to purchase your PvP gear in a specific order. Therefore, we will just give you a specific bit of gear every time you fill your conquest bar and completely remove all player agency from gearing of characters in our MMORPG. Amazing.
Big fan of role-playing games where you're not allowed to play a role or choose anything.
Amazing.
I love that big time.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Pretty stupid.
Yeah.
Pretty stupid. That's just one example, though, of like they screwed gearing. And then in Shadowlands, they screwed gearing. And thankfully, I've completely forgotten how. I've forgotten how Shadowlands PvP gearing works, which is a fantastic thing. And I'm sure it's okay or better now. I think it is actually quite a bit better in War Within, though, because they're just giving you more conquest points. They're taking the Great Vault completely out of it. You just get more conquest and get to buy more shit. So it works better. Almost. You know what's really hilarious? They're returning it to where it used to be before they fucked about with it. Because this is just going right back to how Mists of Pandaria worked, where you have conquest, you earn conquest, you spend conquest. Done. Don't play for 2 weeks, your conquest cap will increase by 2 weeks worth. Like, they're just going to bring it back to exactly how it was before. And that just, I think, shows the level of, like, hyper-optimizing details and not building a game with any form of vision that happened for so many years. And I think with PvP, that's the most clear thing. There is no vision to the feature. I think the last time they tried to have a vision was, because it's been problem solving since then. Like, solo shuffle, that's vision. But it's like little bits and pieces. But the thing is, you can't, like... People who play PvP want to play PvP in the way that somebody plays PvE. Now, that means you need a PvP season to feel like a new season, instead of just like, imagine if it was a Mythic Plus season right now, and you were still in the Sanguine Depths. You're still in Sanguine Depths. You're still in, I don't know, I've forgotten the other dungeons in that shitty expansion. But like, imagine. And that's kind of what it's like for PvP, and I'm not saying like, suddenly it's happening in a different arena, and it's a new, better game forever. But it's just been such a lack of...
This is going to sound insane.
Good.
So
that's how I love it.
Some games are kind of okay and some stagnancy, and they kind of live forever. But the vibes you want from something that's actually a game you play that's alive, and like if it's something like TF2, right? Or if it's just people playing Unreal Tournament still, that's fine because that's like the point. But World of Warcraft is an active live game, and if you're running an active alive game, you need it to feel alive. And that's basically the problem. It doesn't, because the changes aren't happening properly. Because it's like, it's like I'm kind of mostly talking about vibes. Where if you're
perception is a massive part of design.
Yeah, so if you're sat there going, well, I feel bad because my part of the game isn't being given the attention and care the others are, that is going to feel bad. That's going to make you want to play less, even if it doesn't literally matter. Because obviously you can turn around and say, but it's PvP, you just play. Like, if you like the gameplay, you'll like the gameplay. And that's, like, true, but also a little bit, kind of a little bit misguided, I think, and how to think about something. So it is full on the case. If they just tried better, tried properly, give it a good old college try, you know, put a bit of effort in that people can see and people can feel. The reception would be way
where are the
better,
resources?
Like, it's not. I don't know about resources. It's kind of like the will. Like, there's clearly no one there whose job and desire is to make PvP good. Like, that's the case of there's upkeep happening maybe, but no one sat there going, like you say, vision. No one's doing a Battle for Ashenvale event in, like, Dragonflight PvP.
That's the thing to try and do.
Yeah.
And I remember the Battle of Nashatar.
Yeah, and I don't mean like we need world PvP content, 'cause I know the world PvP content's kind of caused issues and not been great before, and it's technically separate from, like, the arena. But it's more the fact that people are trying new things and going for it. So seeing the likes of, like, solo queue RPGs will be interesting. And, like, but maybe there's a PvP, like, team, and they're really working hard on stuff for the War Within, and they're, like, conceptually on that team.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
And that's their conception, as opposed to there being no one in the team whatsoever. But it does feel like it would be such a smart move to go, right, give, like, 2 people, like, just not carte blanche, of course, but basically, you know, hand them the keys and say, go do a thing with PvP. Does anyone have an idea for PvP? Go do it. And, like, maybe there's no one who's inclined and able to fix the MMR system, because literally rating is a challenging thing you need to understand to be able to handle, okay, like, but
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I just yawned. I'm very sleepy. Yeah, I don't get it. Yeah, I mean, actually, you know, there's something there. Metallurgy going, Blizzard should just hire an unpaid PvP intern, would be able to do more in a day than they have this whole year. And that's what it feels like, right?
It's bad that is.
Yeah.
Is it true? Probably not. Does it feel true? Absolutely. And that's their problem.
And feelings
Fortunately, perception is everything, as much as those with, facts would like it to be otherwise.
Rationalists are misleading the entire world into thinking that feelings don't matter and perception doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When feelings matter substantially more than anything else.
Those who understand feelings will completely run rings around them forever.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people are like, but I don't understand. I have a PhD and the research paper. Why do the people not agree? And it's like... By the way, when I say that, I'm not generically being like, experts are bad. I am saying that, there is obviously a situation going on. I only mean to explain that situation.
Experts bad. I'll put the flag in the sand.
What's that interesting thing? As more robust data regarding, like, some climate change related stuff, like, as more robust data has came out, the amount of people who would, like, think it's going on is, like, decreased. And you're like, clearly the bit that the bit that's not moving the needle here is the data. I mean, obviously, if the data turned the other way, then, that would work. Not because of the data, but because it feeds the emotion. I feel like a lot more people need to understand marketing, because if they do, they'll understand the, like, psychological triggers that actually cause the world to happen the way it does.
Yeah, I mean, marketing.
Like, a lot of game designers basically need to understand marketing good, which I hate to say, but if you're running a live game like this, I mean, Bungie's another great example of that. Like, it doesn't matter if the design's right in your head. You need to think about, like, how will this make your players feel when you talk about it, with the amount of information that you give them, whatever. Which is why I think that's, like, that Battle for Ashenvale blue post is amazing.
Yeah.
This blue post.
Not amazing.
Not amazing. That's our review.
Yeah.
Unamazing.
Yeah.
Make it more amazinger next time.
This is the Rebel Moon of blue posts.
I am so excited to imbibe products that are legally okay here and watch Rebel Moon.
It's really funny.
It's going to be so bad. I can't wait. It's going to be unbelievably shit.
It's really funny that Rebel Moon got the same score from IGN as Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Like, totally solid 4. A solid 4 out of 10. But yeah, I think like PvP just needs the players to feel happy. And there's an awkward part of that because like people aren't, a lot of the top end of people who super engage with things won't like something until it's perfect. Mm-hmm. And that's what we always find. Like you kind of need that, kind of need to have something to be mad about because that's how to exist today. But generally, if it was more like the M+ situation where people are playing loads of keys all day long, then it would be a different story, and that's all it needs to be. That's all it needs to be. Yeah, marketing education really helps. Yeah. There was something I wanted to say on that, and it's like marketing is just
it's just understanding behavior. That's it.
It's understanding behavior and understanding like how feelings drive that behavior and how to make people feel things. Marketing is emotional manipulation. That's what it is. It just sounds a lot worse when you say it that way. I will go to college for emotional manipulation.
Oh, don't go to college for marketing.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
God, no. Like, if you're going to do that, you got to learn it yourself. No, marketing in college. I mean, I've got some experience of that. It's friggin' boomers who have no idea what they're doing in the modern world. No. Online is the place to go to learn how a marketing be. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Good stuff. That's the sort of problem I have in PvP. Basically, it's fucked. There you go. Diagnosis, fucked. But guess what?
All of that.
Guess what, though, Matt? It ain't just that. Because, you know, I just love
where do we stand?
I love how it's just like everywhere you go, it's like, yep, that's one style of thumbnail that we started for a news channel. It's another style of text we started for a Warcraft channel.
Yeah. Everything down.
I mean, it's a great thing that we're so rich off the royalties at this stage. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm going to patent the design.
Yeah. So
license my thumbnail template for $5.99 a month. Is healing in a healthy place right now?
Or is it out of control?
I don't know why I said it like that. Jack's really chill. He doesn't talk like that at all. So this is this is interesting because I imagine the answer for normal, heroic, and mythic plus up to like 17 or 18 are pretty different from the answer, I don't know, mythic plus 20, mythic rating. What's going on?
Yeah. So funny enough, it may not appear that way when you look at the actual Notion item, but I've seen a lot of people in chat say our title today for the stream is clickbait and awful. And the
yes, you actually have a.
Yes, so we'll get to that.
Have we got in trouble for it, Matt?
No, some people said stuff, but it's fine.
Interesting.
Because there's a point to it, and you may notice that we're doing a lot of complaining and a very specific amount of complaining about very specific things.
We were uncomplaining earlier. We were happy earlier.
Yes, so that we have uncomplained and also complained. How does this make sense? Find out when we get to that point. For now, it's healing time.
Wow.
Or is it healing time at all? When is healing time? It's not healing time. It's not. It's healing time. No, it's not healing time. It's not healing time. It's not healing time. It's healing time, Ted.
What's happened to you? Are you okay?
That's the representation of what it's like to be healer. Everything is fine until it's suddenly not fine.
You were doing a meta thing.
I was, yeah.
Oh, I see it now. That's the best part about you're like, I think a problem might happen. You hit uppies and you're like, and then everyone's dead.
Yeah,
that's why you as a healer think. Maybe look at timers. But okay. Ew. So, for Season 3, they didn't actually buff player health or enemy damage, as was the case in Season 1 and 2. Instead, they just used an increased item level cap to combat the scaling issue, ballooning the item level substantially from Season 2. They also directly nerfed healing for most specs in order to make healing less bursty and powerful. Because when it's harder for a healer to top off a health pool, Blizzard then tries to compensate by making incoming enemy damage less bursty by comparison. But the problem with this method alone is that we're scaling so much more heavily than they seemingly anticipated with the combination of like new talents, item level, and all of that. Because now that, oh, look at this, man, many players are approaching and exceeding item level 470 to 80, as I'm sure you are right now.
I'm 459.
We are once again seeing a lot of burst healing happening. They try to combat this by adding rot damage to almost every encounter in Emirdrasil, a bunch of negative healing absorbs like with Smolderon, Laradar, Tindrel, as well as ads that needed healing up on Laradar and Frack.
That's cool.
Which I enjoyed. I liked having somewhere to throw all those heals, especially because I can just pop a Radiance on them and then go back to my real job, which is doing damage, of course, because I'm bad. Pop keeps on asking me, one of our raiders, she's like, why are your damage percentiles so good? And I'm just like, Pop, your problem is your healing.
Oh, yeah. Her, it's very funny looking at logs and just saying was it last week? I think I was looking at some logs and I just see like some purple damage logs from Pop. I'm like, how did that happen? And then look at Eric's damage log and go, oh, because he was healing. Because Eric did all the healing. She just got to press damage buttons. That's fun. That's fun.
I can tell you how to orange parse every time with just one simple trick. Be a warlock with cookies, don't do damage, and don't do your job as a healer. Anyhow, we're currently reaching upwards of 40 to 50% over healing right now.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes, like, I do just kind of blanket about shit, just so I'm like, you'll probably take damage. I have more than enough resources. My mana bar hasn't moved. I don't care if everything I do is overhealing. Maybe if I've just blanket atoned a bunch of people and I'm just doing normal DPS and somebody happens to trip over their shoelaces and takes like 10 damage, then maybe I'll get to heal it. That's at least how I kind of feel. As a healer. That being said, Pop's an amazing healer and she will generally... she'll hit the bars before I do.
Yeah.
Which, it's kind of...
I wonder why. I wonder why and I wonder how.
I wonder why and how as well.
Yeah.
But it's...
nothing to do with this spreadsheet full of timings, like.
Fucking turbo nerd, like.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how even, I was about to say discipline daddy. I should say priest daddy. That's a... both of those are really bad, especially in this country. Individual known in the community to play a disciplined priest. It's interesting that he appears to be talking about this. But yes, we're now in a situation of, there you go, whoever is able to outsnipe who in order to actually get value from their healing. That is what healing is like right now, rather than being a group effort to try and keep everyone alive. Absolutely. None of the fights, even during the race, got 5 healed, even with plenty of damage going out and being less gear than guilds progressing right now.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is not only just because of the bursty healer thing again, but also Prot Paladin having strong off-healing and most classes, of course, having like defensives, externals, and stuff in the race to world first. Double Disc Priest Mistweaver H-Pal gave loads of DR and externals. And also strong raw healing. Turns out you can have everything. Yeah. Right. Basically... as he says, it's a situation of 2 extremes. You're either needing to heal too much because you're actively ignoring or failing to do mechanics, or you're fighting against each other to basically overhealing all the time when mechanics are don't properly and people are well geared. Are done properly.
Done properly, yes.
Sometimes for us it's are don't properly, I think, though. What do you think about healing?
I don't have faults about hitting.
Yeah, your disc right now. Your disc right now. Or not disc, sorry, your balance.
Well, glad you know my character. Yeah, actually, we haven't played together since this patch at all.
Yeah, you're in Japan.
Yeah, you're playing, and then I'm playing, you're not. But yeah, I have not had a single problem in anything I've done from healing. And I've tanked M+, and I haven't tanked hard M+, like, I've been tanking, like, 14s to 16s. And in Raid, anytime someone dies, it's them goofing. And, I died because I didn't join the group for, like, basically closeness under Nimwe's intermission, or after the phase. And there's, like, other times I die, it's my fault. There's never been a point where healers have had to, like, struggle. It's always just, oh no.
Yeah, it's very rare that you're just being chipped away.
Yeah. And also, I like Hellstone's a healing pot. I have renewal, and I have like bark skin every 3 seconds. It feels like, and I also have bear form, and I can swap into bear form and like frenzied regen if I need to.
Matt, do you know what this means?
Yeah,
this means we need to strip utility from the game and put more things in the global cooldown.
Definitely. It certainly
is getting too powerful. Just do a BFA. Done. Game design.
It certainly feels like there's just a blanket. Healing is too easy at the minute. It feels that way. Like it just kind of does.
I mean, I do it, so it must be.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Because I know we've talked about this before. Where it's, how do I describe it? Completely just lost. You know when you have a sentence and
and then the sentence just
goes away. Yeah, it's kind of like the problem of healing being tied to failure, like mechanic failure. Because I know we talked about this at length before. You've got X damage command, and you've got Y healing going out, and that almost feels the same way as there's DPS. You know, you need so much DPS to kill a boss.
Yeah,
you don't suddenly need more or less DPS a lot of the time. Maybe if you like get like ads in or whatever, but that's usually like a rare thing, or like a shield happens accidentally. It's always like, well, you have to survive the right amount of damage as a tank. That's your job, and you have to do the amount of damage as a DPS. That's your job. But healers, the amount of damage that comes out to the group changes depending on mechanics. So it's like, how do you have a variance of how many people are making mistakes, personal mistakes and stuff like that, to work with as a healer. Yeah. So that makes it feel like the actual designing of the experience for a healer is different. It's not just, well, we know you can heal 100 in 5 seconds, so we're going to do 100 damage in 5 seconds and see how it works. Because then someone stands on a landmine and it's 120 damage. And now you're like, well, how do you work that out as a designer? It's kind of the interesting thing, I think. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems easy, at least in Raid.
Yeah, it's easy. It's not easy. Sorry, it's interesting to me in that this is a discussion we've been having since like Siege of Orgrimmar.
Yeah.
Okay, no, probably longer than that. But the time where I remember it really exploding was Siege. A little bit different in Siege because it was mostly based on absorbs being super powerful, hence the solo heal of Garrosh. Heroic. Anyway, Mythic Plus then. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Outgoing Burst is incredibly high even after initial waves of tuning, with loads of one-shot mechanics that cannot be out-healed or avoided without an immunity. Bosses like the manifested Timeways in, I was about to say Defense of the Ancients, oh my god, Dawn of the Infinite, and Soulbound Goliath in Wormrest have insane amounts of burst to the point where that raw healing simply cannot counter them, so you need obviously your external stuff, and then this is something that eventually will define the meta, where classes and specs are brought more for their defensiveness and survivability over damage and healing output. Oh my god, there's god comp-like things are happening again.
Yep.
That's the thing. What would you think is good game design? Give players a bunch of tools, have a bunch of problems. Infinite scaling ruins the entire design instantly. Done.
Well, not instantly. You have to get to that point. Yeah. It works completely fine up until it doesn't, because it's designed to break, like we talked about decently last week. And that's where it's the exact same thing we talked about with like Ogvoker before. It's just, it's a support and it's a DPS that does more than DPS. It's not bringing a second healer, but it sort of is a little bit, but without the extra cost. And it's that thing we've always had, the same discussion. We've had it since World of Warcraft released, which is, why can a DPS heal and also do DPS? That's unfair, because they're better now. And then you go, well, okay, then druids, you're doing less DPS than everyone else. Yeah. And then you go, but that's not fair. It's like, no, well, yeah, it's different. It's not fair. Because you're different. That's how it works. Straight up, just there's pros and cons to what you're doing. Like there's pros and cons to picking something and not picking something else. Mm-hmm. And then that boils down to, when the pro isn't right for a situation, then there you go. The pro is right for the situation. And in this situation, the pro is on the Ogvoker being able to add defensiveness to the party without the cost of DPS. So they need to add a bigger con.
Yeah, that's why I was actually quite surprised recently whenever they didn't add more support specs. Because I kind of thought like, oh, are they just going to make this a more defined role and then have there be competition almost within a 1-1-3 format up to like Mythic plus 24 and then a 1-1-1-2 format beyond that, both there being competition sort of between the supports. Hard to say, but obviously we know that they are just leaving Ogvoker as the only support in the game, so
yeah, which is interesting. It's just blah.
Now, there is another one from Therun. No, there's no R there, Thane. Just add an R, Michael, why don't you? Who published a video called Healing Still Sucks in Dragonflight. Quite interesting, actually, this chart here. Antorus overhealing, 44.16%. The highest ever compared to a Madrasil. That said, that's Antorus, the absolute crazy bonkers tier where everybody got, was it 3 legendaries by the end? 3 legendaries?
No, it was 2.
Okay, no, it was 2 legendaries. Your maxed out rune, the rune thingies, Soul 4G rune
Netherlight
thing.
Crucible.
Netherlight Crucible, that being maxed.
Yeah, I actually remember
Legionfall maxed. RSI in your wrists because your haste values are so big. But you actually look at these overhealing values and you see that they are between 25 and 30% for most raids. Nathria actually 23.5%. You can see them actually, though, from Castle Nathria, they increase.
Yeah.
Basically, Sepulchre goes down a bit, but basically.
Yeah, just keep going up and up and up and up and up.
Yeah. So, right, let's try to sort of break into some of the points that were made. Raid healing has drastically changed when compared to previous expansions and raids, especially when comparing to the very rewarding healing fights of Sludgefist from Nathria and N'Zoth from Nyalotha. Man, Sludgefist, what a fight. I wish I was a healer during that. That being said, it was a fun one to DPS as well. A lot of this is power creep that we've all got from new talents, various reworks, and then just raw power from item level and stat scaling. Here's a quote from Thane. If we have another expansion where healing feels like it did in Dragonflight, then I think I'm done. I don't think I can do that again.
Interesting.
So this is not what you want to hear from a higher end healer.
No.
So spot healing got buffs in 10.2 compared to the rest of Dragonflight, as many single target healing abilities just felt like they did nothing. Yep, I think everybody remembers what that was like. This alone has made M+ feeling much better compared to previous seasons. Not perfect, but better, so that is a good thing. Most all throughput cooldowns were also nerfed coming into 10.2 because of how powerful they seemingly were. Thaven agrees that they aren't individually powerful, but that you can layer them all to then achieve super bursty healing. That it's just more powerful than it was before. So, to sort of analyze things so far, from our basic perspective of healing, it's not even like major systems. It's just the design's more powerful and we're scaling a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's kind of rough because that's kind of the foundation bit that ain't working.
Yeah, it's like there's clearly a core fundamental healing design question here. It's like, why does this keep turning out this way? Why does it not just work? Why do you not make it so it's good? And everyone goes, well,
you've worked it.
Yeah.
Ian, fellow healer, why don't you make it so that it's good? Matt has thrown the gauntlet down on you, personally.
And obviously the answer to...
Grogthok, just to make it good. Easy clap.
Of course. Obviously the answer to why
heroic mode Andy's
good is because it's hard to make it good, because it's complicated, because it's all these things that are different to like how everything else works. It's full on just how do you balance healing with everything else? How do you make fear and danger feel enjoyable and not more stressful than anything else? And that's kind of the problem, where healing is horrible and a stressful nightmare thing. And you look at PvP and you see the problem there, where obviously it's kind of the same with a lot of PvP healing issues boil down to, well, you can't. It's almost the same as the M+ stuff. but it's just like, yeah, this is not good. This is not a good experience because healer is actually like the role that invites the most stress, because doing deep damage is just you hit your happy little buttons. You hit your happy little glowy buttons. Whenever your weak auras glow, you hit the button, and you're just sat there like, you know, what do I call it? The I suppose I call it a meme. The video of your fella in the blue chair in the Logitech singing along. He's all happy playing his video game, and then the other sweaty boy who's hammering the keys like crazy. That dichotomy of player experience, and it feels like a lot of the time healers, by nature of healing being a job that's people are dying, you have to stop. You have to be the backup for people's failure.
Yeah,
you have to be the one solving these problems instead of just doing your thing. That is like, it is the sweaty, key mashing, stressful experience.
So what's interesting to me, so from there he does go to talking about just most raid DRs and survivability cooldowns were also nerfed going into 10.2, but they were just very powerful for very long. However, as before, there's a fine line of balancing these, nerf them too much, then wanting to bring a second copy of a certain class or spec may never be the case anymore. As an example, you don't really want to bring a second warrior anymore to gain access to an additional rallying cry because it is no longer powerful enough to warrant that. Then he goes on to the topic of mana. And this is interesting to me, playing as a Disc Priest, because my mana is functionally, like, infinite.
Yeah, you don't have a resource problem, you just have a what do you call problem?
Mistweaver's apparently also very happy for mana. And then over on the other side of things, we've got all the holy paladins who are screaming because, you know, they did have, like, Crusader Strike is way cheaper now because, of course, they had to spend mana to earn the holy power to then do, all the design inherent interesting things of Holy Paladin. So yeah, they're going still. And then a Preservation Evoker spec into Temporal Anomaly. They go within 3 minutes, apparently. If they don't, they're almost infinite.
Class.
Well,
Class.
I'm sure that's fun. Mm-hmm. Some overhealing. Wait, where's the overhealing data? Thanks to Warcraft logs and their Patreon feature that lets you go way back. Brackets not on that. I mean, hey, got to pay the bills. Warcraft logs do awesome work. I went and gathered overhealing numbers on the first 5 kills for each boss since Antorus. Hang on. These are the stats we've already looked at. Oh, wait, no, but on a per boss basis.
Yeah. Holy
crap. Mm-hmm. Jordan really is into gathering data.
Loves the data,
it's just I mean, which of course I totally get. You know, we love doing our data dive videos because they be fun. So, what are our sort of trends here? I mean, there's what we've already kind of discussed. Actually, I think this may be more interesting. Note from poster. I didn't post it to make DF look bad. I just know in healing circles, those that are talking heads frequently reference overhealing, so I wanted to get a full picture. My graphs never have ill intent. The point of my graphs are, and always have been, reporting info and acquiring knowledge. Very rarely share my opinions on things. And then, sort of after the, this is my proper statement, we then, I provide these numbers, which is why you see numerous content creators using them. Yes, I know I'm bragging. Oh, well, it's fun. We like knowledge as well. If you wanted my personal opinion, if you remove the two extremes, Antorus and Nathria, you have a range of 25 to 38, which isn't that vast considering that's 5 or so years of raiding, numerous class reworks, and even a brand new talent system. Personally feel that while yes, Dragonflight does include the most overhealing since Antorus, there are other variables that come into play. We have the most linear gearing we've ever had in that time frame. We have access to better gear more frequently, and we have a profession system that gets used, even if embellishments have been hit or miss. People are getting 4-set, their 4-set bonus in week 2. That's like an interesting thing. If you have your 4-set in week 2 and you're doing easy bosses, are you going to be more likely to do more overhealing? I mean, certainly as a Disc Priest, yeah. I mean, we kind of can't help but do overhealing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Before I get accused of saying it's a bad thing, I'm not. Don't worry. The people who randomly accuse you of bullshit are just dickheads. Don't have to worry. I like having the power early on because Mythic Plus is my main game mode. I'm also objective enough to understand it is not as enjoyable for raiders or those who care about gear progression. So what do we think? What do we think overall? I mean, clearly it seems that if like it's weird from my perspective. I feel like my personal experience is almost kind of useless here because like even progging heroic, which up until whenever Matt came back from Japan I was doing and I will be back to doing soon. Other than heroic progging, I mean that's clearing normal, re-clearing, progging some heroic, having my 4 set. But I've been doing that with like because I think Eric's about the same as me with gear. But Pop, the other disc priest I play with, she plays a lot of WoW, and she was like 20-something item levels ahead of me all the time, like massive item levels, doing the keys, all the stuff. So for me, it's like, yeah, I've had loads of overhealing. Yeah, healing's been really easy, but I've also been playing with probably like one of the, I don't know, very high percentile healers in Europe. Like she's seriously insane. So I feel like even though there are things here that correlate with my experience purely from heroic mode, I don't even think anything. I just have a feeling that anything I'm talking about here is barking completely up the wrong tree because it correlates to my personal experience, but my personal experience is only that for a reason external to this. I don't think it's causal for my personal experience of healing. Because I mean, Aberrus, I had a fantastic time healing, all great, even though its number is quite a bit lower in terms of 33% as sort of the percentage change is quite significant. I don't know what to think. What do you think? You smart brain man.
Not today. I'm not smart brain man today.
No smart brain
my
man.
smart brain is fucking gone. But realistically, it's a thing with difficulty in this game overall, I think, and healers are maybe the one part where where healing is so fundamentally there with failure, there with how it goes. If you don't heal, you die. Like, that's the problem. So, like, my experience in, I was talking to this with Leon a little bit, where my experience in M+, and even a little bit of reading, is World of Warcraft, maybe it's because I'm like how Guardian Druid plays in things, or maybe just how like range DPS is feeling a little bit. Maybe I just have the slightly different perspective than usual. But there's something insane to me about how World of Warcraft difficulty feels. The game is boring as hell. It's so unbelievably easy that you're just full resident sleeper.
Until you're screwed.
Until it is killing you immediately. Like, it never feels like it's a little bit hard. It never feels like, oh, that was a wee bit squeaky. It's always, it is full on. I'm having the time of my life. I'm half asleep at my keyboard. Or I am actually trying not to piss myself. Like,
if we were talking in terms of Halo, which I know sounds weird, but it's as if there is normal mode and legendary mode, and there's no heroic mode.
Yeah.
I think it was called heroic in Halo. Or was it Veteran? I've forgotten. No, Veteran was Call of Duty.
Yeah, and it's not even about like difficulty. Like, I'm talking about like how hard things are. It's more that it's really binary feeling. It's either easy or murdering you, and that's because of how all of the like failure things are, how the game's designed, where you either do the thing right and it's super easy, or you do the thing wrong and it's super hard. And that's a lot of like M+ to me, where I never feel like as a tank, to be fair, I'm not like doing particularly like hard stuff, but as a tank, I feel like I never have to think about my survivability or anything until like a boss is done really badly, or until we pull wrong, or until, I have a group that aren't interrupting correctly. And then it's like, oh, we can't win this because the situation has changed to be unwinnable. So like, it's not a great experience to me at the minute, like tanking. Maybe some of that's because I like bear isn't as fun compared to what I call
it is the most sleepy spec in the universe.
Yeah, maybe like it's not like I really love playing prop paladin because I have so many ways to do things.
Yeah.
Whereas a bear, I'm just like mashing thrash and raise and mangle and half sleeping, which I don't think it's terrible. It's just not super engaging to me. And then DPS is just you're doing your DPS and you're doing the mechanic right, and I think that can feel good, but I think it feels better as a melee than a ranged a lot of the time to me. Because I don't think doing as much damage as possible on a mob pack is a particularly fun experience. Like, I don't feel like the design's super there. It's okay. Like, it's really fine. But
it depends what that represents. If it's just idly doing that, sure. But if you maybe get some new gear and then you notice, oh, I'm up 8%, I feel really good about this.
Yeah,
that's going to feel good because it's kind of representing your achievement.
Yeah, it's kind of there's just
like in terms of how that should feel in the game design of WoW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's just like there's a lack of granularity. The thing that I find fun is making sure mechanics go down well, and that's kind of rare here and there. And it's just, if it goes wrong, you're dead. And that's fine. It is like it's a binary test. But the lack of granularity and success or failure is actually kind of stressful.
And so do you think that's why, I know in the chart of like players entering flow, where you do have, it's like,
it's hard. Yeah,
WoW is either boring or it's so stressful you don't want to engage anymore.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Where
and then when it's boring, all that it is gear, and then maybe that's a part of why we end up speaking about gear so damn much.
Yeah, because
because
it's
I need a klaxon for like when a big thought has happened.
Yeah, I mean it's the same of it's the how do I put this? It's like I've been enjoying M+ ish with people, but I really haven't been, like, gear doesn't feel particularly meaningful to me because we're walking over heroic. And I know it's easy enough that I can just, like, with my current gear, as long as I had a full group, I could do 20s, like, with like 4 or 5 9, I could just generally gear. I'm not particularly, like, I don't feel like I'm been driven to gear.
So
because I don't need it for anything.
That yeah, so it's like one of the levers in World of Warcraft then is mechanics and tools to counter them. Mm-hmm. And then the other lever is number go up because it's an RPG. Obviously look at like Diablo and you can see those two levers play out. But the whole point of a game like Diablo is that eventually your level of number go up just outscales shit like insane, combined with the specifics of your build. Within World of Warcraft, are you maybe thinking that our core character builds are too strong? And that means that the numbers then don't really matter as much, which then makes the numbers feel like a bunch of noise on top of what you perceive as the signal. Then if you look at a game like World of Warcraft Classic or TBC or maybe even Wrath, where you have so much less going on, you have less going on, you have less power, you have like less utility than, you will have had at like peak, maybe Mop or Dragonflight, whenever. There's just utility going everywhere. Because it is interesting with healing, a lot of these same discussions were happening in Mop back when we had all the utility in the universe and all the Blizzard could do was make a health bar whack-a-mole.
Yeah,
so it's a signal to noise thing. Yeah. So in a way, it's like, what is World of Warcraft? Because if you reduce the signal of like those mechanic stuff, then the numbers and the gear will matter more. Which, if you look at, say, Classic, is kind of what you get.
Yeah.
And I feel like some of these are competing scopes of game design. Because at the highest scope of game design, you could say, or maybe no. On the highest scope of game design, you could say that there's a lot of big wins in the older way of doing things. Of like, less mechanical complexity, just a whole bunch of stuff. There may be loads of buttons, but you only use 7 of them. And, you don't press them as often or, whatever, older sort of school of design. Whereas now, it's as if every single detail in the game has a designer making it interesting. Which maybe naturally just means that World of Warcraft has... Basically, World of Warcraft is the anti-Dieter Rams of design, where, if you're going to say less is more, good design is the minimum amount of design that you need to get the thing, done and good, and anything more just creates a cluttered, worse product. Do you almost then have that thing of like all the bits are better, but then it's harder to bring them all together whenever the game itself is such a broad experience versus game design that maybe would benefit from that level of refinement and polish to every little detail that you might have in like a, big single player, 400 team sort of style of game, like a Naughty Dog or a Santa Monica or an Insomniac. Sorry, I know I just completely soapbox there.
Yeah, no.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah, that last comparison to like a Santa Monica actually really worked for me because You know what the problem with World of Warcraft is? I think in a lot of gameplay ways is that it's very binary. You have so many options, but you don't have many options at all because you have problems to solve, and if you like those are like the binary problems to solve.
Not options, I see.
Yeah, whereas because the reason I thought about it with like Santa Monica as an example is God of War, right? And what do I like about character action games? I like that granularity of, would you like to press the same 3 buttons the whole game, or would you like to have some sort of self-expression? Would you like to express yourself in how you're like, making combos happen and doing cool things and attempting all these like different solutions to a problem? Are you going to like throw the Leviathan axe to freeze dudes and punch a shit out of them, or are you just going to like just melee attack all the time? And in WoW, it's like you have your rotation that you do, and you press your interrupt or your stun or your CC. It's kind of always been this way. So I am literally just talking about the design of World of Warcraft at this point, but it's so prescriptive. It's so prescriptive and solved compared to having a decent amount of expression in it. At least that's where I kind of feel at the minute. I mean, there's some cases for decent expression, like Ursol's Vortex into a Typhoon to snap stuff together. There's a little bit of like optimization there, but when it comes to the actual like prescribed mechanics, you are a little bit running through, and it's success or failure based on you do this thing that you're doing, and you always do that, and then you react to the mechanic.
Is the point here, because it's like this game was produced by an organization, and the structure of the organization will impact the game they produce, because that's what's literally building the game. The game will reflect how and what builds it. What we're talking about here is a problem that can't be solved by a massive team or many different sub-teams. The problem we're talking about here is top-level design solved by, 1 to 3 people who really trust each other and are willing to make a big bet.
Yeah.
And I think that's fundamentally why it is such a hard problem for a massive live game to grapple.
Yeah. And I don't even think this is particularly this isn't some fatalist, the game is flawed at its core.
Yeah, there's 2 ways it can go. Yeah.
It's literally just this is the game's design. But I think the worst part of it's coming out now because the game feels a little bit like Dive Kick, because you either win or don't, and it's so like it is on a razor's edge of what happens. So I wonder if, because I think a lot of the problem is that there's not really much room for attrition in the game, especially on M+.
Slow down.
There's no attrition in M+ whatsoever because mana's never an issue, because you just drink between packs. So it is pure output and pure mechanical solves. There's no you're going to take 10% damage if you don't do this, and if you fail it enough times, it goes horribly wrong, or you'll eventually be worn down to death. They can't do that. Mm-hmm. They can do that in fights because they've got mana as they've got mana and your utility and your resources like a thing over time. But in M+, it feels like it's pure just... Yeah, you have to dance on the razor's edge, and sometimes you're nowhere near the edge at all, and it's completely fine, and you have no danger. Another time you just you slip and you're gone.
It just speaks to how it feels. Yeah, it feels then to you binary.
Yeah, and that's the thing where I find it hard to get into flow because it's either super boring or it is over. And maybe there's a level of difficulty, if I was maybe doing 20s in my current gear, I would have
that's the thing.
More optimization.
When I think about how you play games, and I think about the types of games you play, which is going to be Metroidvanias where you're, versus, does a Metroidvania player have the APM of a StarCraft player? Probably not, but
depends on the game.
Every bit of APM that they do is as fast as they can do it, right? Generally, I look at you, I'm sure you playing a game like Super Meat Boy or Celeste when you were at your peak level of skill at a game like that. Good. The closest WoW can get you to that is incompatible with your social structure.
Yeah.
So then it's what engages you as a player, you just can't access in WoW because that's a mythic raid.
Yeah. More or less.
Because
problem.
Yeah, that's essentially your problem. Now, a way where WoW might be able to give you some of that, but realistically probably won't because you'll outscale it with gear, is delves.
Yeah.
Because I'm imagining, you go in and you do a heroic level delve in green gear. There's a challenge. And maybe, or I'm sure assuming you weren't being bullshitted by mechanical readability or something, that the likes of if you went full ass committing into like Horrific Visions or Brawler's Guild.
Horrific Visions were pretty good. And
Like,
they still
surely-
killed you a little bit hard.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Horrific Visions were great because they had that resource management, that attrition, that you fucked your sanity here,
Yeah.
as opposed to...
So that's why it worked for you as a game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a perfectly good point.
So we've worked out Matt's psychology and what makes game good, game bad, but in a way where it's completely unapplicable.
Yeah, exactly.
Another traditional stream segment. We should really be a think tank. Just
really should, yeah.
sit there, produce useless knowledge that's only used by media to make everyone confused. That's our job.
Honestly, I'm already doing that, so
Like, why aren't we charging the Tories, like, I don't know, 2 million a day for it?
I'm going.
that's how government
I'm going to
works.
be really honest. I genuinely, every time we broach this topic, I go, why not? This is what I do with, like, this is what I do. This is what I do in my spare time. I don't even play fucking video games anymore. I just sit and think about them. I just sit and think about all this stuff and wonder. And it's a horrible curse. I wouldn't have it on anyone. But, like, yeah, how does that... I think they could fix it by moving more to attrition if it even needs fixed, because I think maybe there's a world of like very high M plus where it's hard enough that it does feel like attrition, and there's like the mental stack to worry about. But that's the thing, right? And it's one of the things I like about fighting games is the mental stack, and it's like, what are you thinking about? And in WoW, it's not really an awful lot.
Well, you play rhythm games.
Yeah, where you don't think about anything. It's pure body. Like,
Well, yeah, so it's pure flow.
yeah,
Like,
pure flow.
that's why rhythm games end up like, yes, there is the I'm playing a fighting game and I need to use my full mental faculties to defeat this opponent. But then there's, as an example, rhythm games where I suppose your hand to eye to, I don't know, however music works in here, that is 100% taxed to the point where it is complete flow. It's like achieving the same thing.
Nothing feels better to me than when I'm feeling a segment of a song because I literally do not have the capacity mentally to parse it into physical reactions. When I can see it coming and my brain just goes, what the fuck is that? And then I play the song a few more times and I crack it, and then I get like the nervous, almost like the nervous system gains of I have unlocked a new like series of moves I do on like sight reading. But yeah, that's a different kettle of fish. I think there's a lot of questions about what people find fun and WoW, and that's the thing where we talked about this last week. When it becomes easier, and it's clearly becoming easier, then that's when people move over to more of like the other things are the important part, the gearing, the fantasy elements, all that stuff becomes pretty important. And I think that's where we're seeing a lot of success in that. When you look at like the M plus numbers go up.
Yeah.
It's easier now. Are those correlated? Is there causation? Who knows? Probably. I would certainly suggest. I'd certainly suggest that an easier game is played more by a broader audience for sure. I mean, that's unless you're an exception, because you know FromSoft games would be an exception there, more or less, as opposed to like the rule. So I don't really. I'm trying to like concept what would solve it being super dive kicky. And when I say dive kick, it's literally like it's a joke.
Like Nidhogg.
It's a joke.
Like
Yeah,
another game
yeah,
where like
yeah.
the win-loss state is so minor feeling.
Yeah, and dive kick is literally you have two buttons. You have jump and you have dive, and it is all about like hyper like micro positioning and one kick and it's over. Like, so it is just really it's really weird.
Can you
it's
just
over? But
can you just slow it down while maintaining gameplay feel?
without a healer redesign, I don't know, because I feel like the problem is that healers are. You die when you run out of health, and healers heal that.
And I understand that for
but, like-
Blizzard, the whole just like scale the health bar bigger and
Yeah.
don't buff the healers to compensate. That's like the band-aid fix to this.
Yeah, and that feels like it could work, except it hasn't ever worked. And I think they tried it, and it keeps breaking.
but it's worked probably better than if they hadn't done anything.
Yeah, definitely. It's not pure.
But
okay,
we're still maybe that gets us. that triages the situation, but we're still confronted with the design realities. So there you go. We've talked about that, and we have no firm solutions other than, I don't know, can they somehow slow the game down a little bit, and how do we get past the problem of everybody being so powerful in terms of the utility and stuff that, it creates whack-a-mole healing, which is something that WoW has had many times in the past. I think the one that, obviously, as I've said a few times before, stood out to me the most is the domination of Disc Priests in patch 5.4, which, come to think of it, is a long time ago. For other things, I don't think we need to talk about the Incandescent Essence or the Tindral nerfs.
Stop nerfing everything. Let us fight the boss. Come on.
It's mythic stuff. It's not heroic.
It's not heroic as well?
No. Wait, is it? I thought it was just mythic. Oh, no, this is...
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was just mythic.
Yeah, no, they have. They've reduced his things. Like most of it's mythic, but still like actual like.
Does pulsing heat damage need to be reduced?
I suppose it does.
I've never felt that in heroic much.
Did you even prog it?
Wait, we haven't done a heroic yet.
You haven't fought Tindral in heroic.
What am I on about? Yeah, of course not. It's total bullshit.
I mean, we're on Tindral.
How does it feel?
Sorry,
it's been a very, very long week.
Listen, I haven't a clue.
My head is busted.
I don't have a clue what Tindral even does. I'll remember one next to the fight, but
because you've not.
I cleared like normal.
Okay, so you just
we clear. I completely missed the normal reclear last night, which means all my gear's gone.
Anyway, that's happened. Whatever. I'm just trying to think of stuff that's actually interesting for the stream. There's Tyr says things based on you having weapons. It's neat flavor.
Yeah, this is kind of cool.
There's nothing kind of massive, but he says, you wield my hammer, the Silver Hand, Bane of Ragnaros, and Galakron, I hope it serves you well. But he can also say, you wield a likeness of my Silver Hand champion, but not with my skill.
Yeah, that's the different one.
Nope, that's what he says for this one.
No. Yeah, that's
sorry.
That's Infinite Tyr.
That's what Infinite Tyr says.
Yeah.
Whoops, I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Talks about
lore, let's go. I read the Truth Card book.
There you go.
Yeah, cool. Actually, honestly.
Oh yeah. This is great. We're very pro flavor text over here. Now, Matt, what is this? Why have you called out your own title?
Good question. Why have I called myself out? Let's see. WoW's looking great. Exclamation mark. Space. Dot. Sorry. Ellipsis. Until you look closely.
You talking about the classic,
Yes.
defeat in detail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the thing. When you have a community and everybody has got, their own personal reasons for like, what is the problem here? Why isn't this going well? What is that community? It's a fact-finding machine. So then you have a large game with loads of details and loads of people who dive into those details. That's why like we talked about the Mythic Plus keys earlier. Was it 3-point-something% are above like level Mythic Plus 21 or 22?
Yeah, around that. Something like that.
Now, how many issues that only really apply to beyond Mythic Plus 22 actually end up dominating the conversation?
Yes.
That's where we get to
The answer is
many
yes.
interesting things and where they can be defeated in the detail, even though for most people who are running like up to say a 17 or an 18 will never matter.
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically like the core here is how can we talk that the game good, happy, everything's sweet, but also like there's bullshit everywhere and it's drama and healing's broken and PvP been broken is like a genuine big issue.
That's the true massive one.
Yeah, but even then that falls under like the same category to me where PvP is a niche within WoW. So how can we be like, the game is really good and excellent and fantastic in so many ways, and the future is genuinely fantastic and bright, especially thinking about the Worldsoul Saga and everything else. The Worldsoul Saga coming ahead, the Season of Discovery, and how that's like kind of paved the way as we're talking about the Battle for, as we said, the Battle for Azeroth. No, the Battle for Ashenvale. That event, everything was like, there's definitely things are going great. Great in so many ways. There's a lot of hope. They fixed the fucking Warden transmog. So that's a thing that happened. That's great. That I didn't expect to happen, and it's the small things like that are finally being sorted that makes this like actually a really hopeful experience to be a fan of Warcraft, and not even just World of Warcraft, because there's a vague chance in the next couple of years we'll have other games hopefully and movie, TV show, something along those lines as well, because that's kind of where we're at. But at the same time, it's still a load of problems. And it feels like, to use
there always will be problems.
Yeah, and to use what was said in pre-stream chat, because someone came in and said something to the fact of, what news are they going to blow out of proportion today? And I was just like...
Just talking about the things that have happened.
I'm just like, you name it, I'll blow it out of proportion, work away. But then it would kind of even go, yeah, okay, so there literally is like... there is a load of problems, and there will always be a load of problems, because there's always problems. Always, always, always problems. And the reason these problems keep being surfaced, and the way people talk about them or the reason people talk about them, is because it's kind of what we do, and kind of have to. So it's like, if, you need news to talk about the news, but also it genuinely comes from like a place of like love, I think. And it always does. It's the thing we were worried about in like towards the end of Shadowlands and stuff, and worried with how Dragonflight's like marketing felt, and how like people were a little bit uninterested in the Drakthir. And it was, apathy was on the horizon. People were getting very tired of, being hurt by World of Warcraft, so they were going to like just go away. And that's kind of thing. It's like we love it so much that we spend so much time poring over the mistakes, because to actually notice those mistakes, you have to be super, super, super deep. Yeah, you have to be super deep in there. So that's, I think, is the game good or is it bad? And I think the answer realistically is like both are true. Both are true, and both will always be true.
Question.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's an unrealistic question. It's not like WoW's. I mean, unless something massive happens, it's not just going to turn from good to bad or bad to good overnight. That being said, they've came bloody close many times, haven't they? The
experience can be bad or good.
WoW's been dying since beta. In fact, WoW's been dying since beta. Every forever game has been dying at all points in time. That's a little bit blowing it out of proportion, in fairness. I get that.
Yeah, but that's the part where I think it's it's pretty succinct to actually answer the kind of the topic here. But it's like, WoW can look great, and also when you look at thing, you see the cracks. It's just everything's going to have some cracks. Everything's going to have a little bit of paint worn away somewhere, need repainted. Everything's going to have that decay inherent to it, and that's why things change.
Yeah,
because they'll change and improve and stuff like that. So that's one. Obviously, yeah, PvP is a terrible one, where that literally is a massive problem and needs fixed. But
yeah, of anything today, like for the vast majority of players, the bit that's actually a problem is PvP, and the rest is all interesting details that, for the most part, only impact the top end of the player base.
Yeah,
and therefore, by definition, don't literally matter, but figuratively do, because they can set the tone of discussion, as anybody who didn't have a god comp spec but wanted to get into Mythic Plus probably, found whenever they try to use the pre-made group finder, or a bunch of jackasses applied stuff like said by top-end players for other top-end players in the context of top-end play, and then they misapply it to, not that context.
Yeah, so it is interesting to have to ride the line of the stuff that is surfaced, those issues that are surfaced are at the same time of no importance whatsoever, and also of the utmost importance. Because it turns out it's very complicated. It's very complicated. It is good and bad, and hope and doom coexist in a almost cyclical fashion. But it is just like, it's really easy to reduce to, it's hopium time, or, oh, it's so over. It's like, within actual fandom and enjoyment of a game and looking at it as a whole picture, we are simultaneously at it's so over and we're so back. We're simultaneously at both at all times.
Uber schizo time.
It is
all the time.
It is time to be a profound schizo.
No, it's definitely not time to be that, but it's that sort of thing. I feel like it's why a lot of radicalization, can kind of happen easier these days, because you just kind of look at the broader landscape, and it is kind of all crazy schizo time all the time.
Yeah, because we are trying to understand the totality of something from a perspective that, that's trying to understand the totality of anything is crazy. No, it just involves rejecting the data that's noise. Yeah. But we're bad at doing that because that's the hard bit. Yeah. Turns out, this is probably why
large language models still, they may produce good sentences, but they produce worse paragraphs and then produce worse pieces. It's because they're not as good at including or excluding things. Yeah. I think it's one of the core reasons. There's like that human sort of authorship that, could emotionally weight things intuitively. That's, but if you always talk about details, then it's just what's happening. Well, your brain's just reacting and rationalizing. So you can react and rationalize to absolutely everything. That is how it is literally possible to do a 24-hour news cycle, even, while covering. That's why it's possible to do a 24-hour news cycle while covering basically nothing.
That's great.
That's sorry, folks. That is the way the world works. But moving swiftly onwards, Matt, to other topics. We do, in fact, have an encrypted build of patch 10.2.6 appearing. This has been spotted by the Algalon Enigmatic Observer bot on Twitter, which is very fun. If something happens at any of the WoW CDN, then it will make a post. So yes, the WoW Dev 3 branch of the Blizzard Content Delivery Network has been mysteriously running this weird build called 96.2.6. People then think, if you replace that 96 with 10, then it would in fact be a patch. And turns out that is the case, because it has been updated to patch... if I go later on, it's been updated to 10.2.6. Yep. Question then will be, what's actually going on there? There's a few things we can talk about. Some things you could expect, 10.0 Prelude story. Khadgar, Jaina, Thrall, and Tyr all are sort of dangling and dropping breadcrumbs everywhere. Don't really know how you dangle a breadcrumb, but there you go. Probably another Tyr storyline, I would imagine. Perhaps paladins or druids being open to all races. People have been seeing some foreshadowing of that. Battle for Azeroth time walking, yep, it is time to do it. So I suppose you can do a Taldazar time walking and a Taldazar Mythic Plus within the same season. Delightful. Open world time walking is something to think about. I would not expect it for 10.6. I think this would rather be a feature for when the new season comes out, to be honest. Other things, legacy loot rules and tuning for Shadowlands raids, that could happen. Perhaps tuning for Battle for Azeroth raids so they can be soloable. There is another thing, though, that is, I think, relevant here. Follower dungeons, they're coming in 10.2.5.
That's so good, man.
T&E, they were like, wow, I can't believe they didn't say that at Blizzard. What else could they be not talking about? To which, Holly Longdale, as an example, the vice president and executive producer, just replies with some eyes. That just makes... Do you know what it makes me think, actually? Makes me think that... Season 4, or perhaps the things that will come along with Season 4 will be bigger than we expect.
Yeah, almost. I mean, I'm of the opinion that any time there'll be an update, there'll just be shit in it that we didn't expect that's way cooler.
Yeah, I mean, Brawler's Guild.
Like, what do you mean 10.2? Brawler's Guild feels like small time to me, thinking about it now. Just because I'm looking at, I'm reminded of follower dungeons. Like, oh yeah, just AI NPCs doing dungeons with you. There you go. That's a game changer. For so many people, that's an unbelievable game changer. And God knows how far that'll actually be pushed or taken eventually. It's just I am assuming there's big stuff everywhere.
Yeah, so that's going on. We're going to be getting another patch. Based on the timelines, we can expect... A lot of people teasing, yeah. Based on timelines, what you can expect here is 10.2.5 early January launch, with this either being on PTR before Christmas or early next year. The biggest way that they could put this in PTR is to put it in PTR, but also do that in and around the same time that they release the roadmap for next year. Last year, in 2022, it was December 21st that the roadmap for 2023 was sort of launched, so you could expect to see something similar again here. As for other things, I guess TLDR with 10.2.5, it's a release candidate now, probably coming out, definitely coming out January. There's a splash screen. Azerothian Archives is more testable. Balameth has seen some further development as well. So yeah, there's that. It's not much to talk about. We kind of already know about all of this stuff. There's some nice data mining. You can get your Logosh Varian swords, so that's pretty sick. There's some transmogs that come along with that, but the swords.
I think I like flowers.
I think you do like flowers.
I'm just like, oh, that's pretty. Very good.
And so
what the? Oh, is it the way the shading? Yeah. Is like, what the? All right, sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, just get some nice variant looking stuff. Some butterfly.
Tourmaline. I just like gems and flowers. What the fuck?
Yeah. There you go. Big amethyst battle axe. Put that in your Draenei.
Fucking right. That was like a real guttural enjoyment of that. I'm like, yes, please. Oh, that's Sorian.
Yeah.
Yo, wood.
A stick. And also there's a bunch of Scarab related stuff, so probably going to be January coming along with the Call of the Scarab event that commemorates the first ringing of the gong way back in 2005?
Or
was it early 2006?
Couldn't I?
My brain's turned to jelly. I think it's 5. It's 5.
Also, if we're going, if the sword is the thing. So this stuff might be more story attached. Actually,
true. Yeah.
If we're chilling there.
Oh, they could.
Yeah.
Unless 10.2 points. Yeah. No. Anyway. So that's what's went on. As for other stuff, Matt, honestly, I don't think anyone gives a shit. Because we could talk through there being new Pepe costumes and some things from last stream, but I don't think anybody really cares.
Man, but what about the next generation of creepy little motherfucker?
Terrifying. Nope.
World of Warcraft children are the most scary nightmare.
They are horrible.
I've ever seen. And like they're trying their best, but geez, sweet,
spooky.
Like that thing is like that thing shows up. You're walking around Bellular, you see that, like
flamethrower immediately,
straight up just lifting her. I just like nope, okay, goodbye, get in the fucking river. Jesus Christ.
Yep. So there you go. You've been uncanny valleyed. Now with Bellameth,
very good.
With Bellameth, there is one drama, and that is the tour players can visit it and not be killed on the spot. Are you mad?
Are
you mad?
I'm really concerned that anyone is taking this seriously.
Have you read anything else about the story or any of the details?
I have seen a little bit, and I've seen people react, and I've seen people bring up insane things.
So in my head, they've kind of threaded the needle.
Yeah, this feels completely fine. Like, because it's...
Your level of, like, in the same voice being like, I don't know if I can accept this, followed by, it's completely fine.
Yeah, that's...
am I gonna, like, are you gonna kill me and skin me? This might happen.
If I was ever going to do that, I'd have done long ago.
But you do get this buff called Eyes of the Sentinels. Seen and unseen eyes alike are watching your every move. And then Hamul Rune Totem, who's Earthen Ring leader, says a whole bunch of things.
Ring leader? Is he?
Cenarian Circle. Oh my god. Yes,
circle ring.
Shamans, druids, a bunch of fucking flower pickers. Screw 'em. Well, just go pick your piece.
Yeah, so the camera didn't go to me there, I don't think, whenever I made that sound, but you should have seen the look I gave him.
About what?
When you said that.
Oh yeah, because you like druids and shamans.
Yeah. That's.
Oh yeah, it's okay. I do in fact like druids a lot. Emirdrasil has bloomed. Bellameth marks a place of healing and respite for the Kaldori. This is what Hamul Rune Totem sound like. Part of this was because of our aid. Tyrande has graciously allowed us to walk freely here because of it. Enjoy what this new land has to offer, bask in its beauty, but do not make the High Priestess regret her decision. So,
yeah, that's why I'm like, this isn't the fucking doors are open. This isn't, sure, we'll just have half the horde walk in for the crack. This is clearly, very obviously, you're the player, you're allowed in. So people were involved or allowed in, that's fair enough. And also, it's actually backed up by character dialogue saying, yeah, we're allowed here because it does actually, this is the kind of future of us not being hitting each other quite as much, especially these factions. Obviously, a fucking Cenarian Circle member is going to be allowed in here. And obviously, the Sentinels are going to watch because they're right to be distrustful. They're right to go one move and there's an arrow in your brain.
You just need to do the lamp shading and the tiny little bits to make it make sense.
Yeah, it's not like it's very clearly and very obviously not a case of if the Horde army shows up at the door, they'll say, "Oh, you're here for some tea. Come on in." It's clearly like, no, it's just not shooting you on sight. which is, obviously that's the way that works in the other cities, but it's like, it's fine. Like, they're not actively at actual war. And even then,
so
there's a difference.
the only way to do this, then,
Yeah.
to make everybody happy, so to let people take their characters anywhere, but also have divides and tensions be expressed, it's clear just to add loads of racism to the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Treat everyone like a Death Knight who's just walked into Stormwind.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, that's the thing. We're like this buff just being like, yeah, listen, you're not supposed to be here. You're allowed to be here. That feels fine. So it's like, I
do agree with, I really hope they write this Mystical Alliance Horde Peace Agreement storyline soon, because them pretending it's already done, done and be dealt with. That I actually do feel.
I get it 100%, yeah.
The way that they rushed through the end of the Fourth War, I think, was kind of weak in game. And they just left it like, Horde's got a council. Bad person's team rocketed and is gone. That is it.
Yeah.
It's as if they've had this terror of faction storytelling ever since BFA, and there's all these people who are like, "Oh, I never want a faction storyline again after BFA." But I think that's a real misdiagnosis. Like, BFA wasn't bad because it was a faction-related storyline. It was not a faction-related storyline grafted onto what was sold as a faction storyline. Like, that was the thing. Like, ultimately, it was all Sylvanas, Jailer, fucking bollocks. But, like, more importantly, it was bad. It's, we all want to do this, like, it was bad because of. And it's like, it wasn't bad because it was Alliance versus Horde. It was bad because it was sucked. It was bad. It was just bad. I feel like, while I could explain it, I do not need to explain to people why BFA was a fragmented bad mess.
Yeah, very rarely things are bad. It's very rare that things are bad for for what they are, outside of just being bad. Which, if that doesn't make any sense,
it's like their job is to make it good enough that you're sold in the concept. What do they do? The concept. What do they fail to do? Sell people in the concept by it actually being good. Of course, that's a figure of speech, because funny enough, the thing that did sell people in the concept was the trailer that felt like how the faction war should have felt. Just the faction war didn't feel like the trailer. So there you go.
Yeah, anything can be good if executed correctly. There's no fundamentally impossible thing to do, especially in this like storytelling front. But I can kind of get the desire to just want it to be, can we have this make sense and be reflected in the world? And it's just that don't not do the thing. Try to give us more text, more lore, more story. Generally is a good thing. So I understand that point as well. But obviously neutral racial capitals they're not a great idea, but this is clearly an exception. Like, this is clearly, you know what it is? And it comes a little bit down to what we're talking about, but the stream title here, where everyone takes things to like the logical conclusion, like the theoretical endpoint. And that's all. It's almost like the internal, like the story version of Mythic Plus scaling that breaks. People will like go, well, is this how things will be in the future? It's like, no, if you look at it in context and in isolation, it's fine. Stop making up things. Stop making things up to be mad at, which is a lot of what like story beats kind of feel like in this sense. And I could get that from a world of not having any trust in them whatsoever.
Well,
because it was the same. Yeah, that was the point in Shadowlands.
That do be the world.
Yeah, that do be the world where you go, okay, well, you did this and everything else you do is shit, so this will inevitably be shit. But with enough kind of context, I'm looking going, you know what? This is
honestly, needle threaded. That's my view.
And there's not going to be a case where you walk into like org and there's just a load of human NPCs. Like, it'd be a different story if there's a load of just orc NPCs and guards as well. But that's not the case.
I still think you should quit over this as a Night Elf player.
Yeah.
You should quit now.
I do need some excuse to quit. Like,
there you go. It's one of those things. Like, the levels of drama have decreased over time. We are, we're all having fun discussing things, but it in no way is anything like it's been around, like, say, 9.1. Remember that fun time.
No, I've destroyed it from my brain.
That is what has went on in World of Warcraft. A fairly eventful yet uneventful week where there's been plenty of interesting things to talk about, but not a massive amount going on because we are actually wrapping the year up. I do think that, hey, it's kind of fun that, 11.0 really seems to be on track. Other than that, though, expect Blizzard's final spurt within a few days of, the final, and here's the end of the year, which will probably be the roadmap post, which, in fairness, that'll be exciting to go over. I think that's the crack.
Yeah, that's the crack. It's, did you see the all the stuff about AI and ChatGPT being lazy in December?
What?
Oh, you don't see it?
No.
People were noticing that there's basically output from ChatGPT, asking for help with coding and stuff, and here, provide code. It doesn't code as much in December. It literally is lazier.
What?
And it leaves more things in to-dos to be implemented later.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
And then they're like, what? This are we gaslighting ourselves? And then people started to test and ask it to act as if we're May instead of December, and it did substantially more work. And I was just like, the machines learned from us to not do shit in December. Not work a fucking day around Christmas. Unbelievable. Yeah. So it's we are at that part of the year where it's everyone's it's usually the end of this week or the end of, obviously the end of next week for most.
I just got an email with the subject, it's time to slam.
Nice.
From Frost Giant Studios because it's their stress test.
Okay, good.
That's a good way to get people's attention so they know to go to your stress test. Oh, that's good.
But yeah, so everyone's things are just going to slowly stop a little bit or slow down, and that'll be the end of things until the new year. I think that'll be the case for everyone, which means it's time to be comfy.
Time to be comfy.
Be comfy and do some stuff.
That's it. Go play some Season of Discovery.
Yes, I will
be cozy.
Do that tonight.
Be happy.
Maybe.
I won't do it tonight because I have got to handle Christmas gifts and IRL because it's that time of the year. But
handle Christmas gifts at 9:30 night.
Well, make the plan for the last things of the digital purchases. Or
right. See, I'm just going to leave it to the last minute like I do every year because the death zone is where you make the best decisions and do things.
Matt, you human male.
I am a human male.
But it's okay.
I'm out of the fucking human male printer.
He's a Draenei female online.
I haven't played it.
I don't know what that means. And it's also not a great insult because depending on what character I'm playing, I may be as well.
I play my net elf more than anything else now. That's what I do. Or no, you're talking about my Discord profile.
I've got this friggin' dusty old fucking warrior, big hench looking warrior dude, and I was I've just not played warrior in years. Should probably do that.
It's so boring.
Really?
So boring conceptually. I'm
I suppose the problem is is Fury is still all just
yeah.
But then I remember ARMS just finding, and I know this is not a lot of people who play the game at high levels would be like, you thought something was fun because the animations were cool and it sounded nice. That is fun. That is such a straw man of them that is deeply unfair of me to say because they all have taste as well. I'm stupid.
No, they don't have taste. They just pick the big number flavor of the month. They don't.
I
was just.
They don't, but you milk some engagement.
I did.
That's how we do it.
I did. I was just about to say something.
The people need an enemy, Matt.
I am more than happy to be anyone's enemy at any point in time.
Oh, I was going to go with the entire high-end Mythic Plus player base, but if we could just replace that with you, then probably easier.
Yeah. I do like playing the villain. I don't get a chance to do it often. When I do it, it's very satisfying.
Heal characters are some of the most fun. I imagine in wrestling, which is something I don't watch.
Yeah, I haven't watched wrestling.
But everyone likes a good villain in media, right?
Yeah.
So there we have it with things. Ultimately, what's going on, man? There's so much. There's a lot of posts going out on Ghost, which has been cool.
So many, dude.
You finally got the Shaman podcast out last week.
Yeah, and then the Worldsoul Saga lore video, which was out on last Saturday. There'll be another one on the same thing tomorrow. There is
part 1, part 2.
So they're not framed as that until we finished yesterday's recording. I went, yeah, okay, that was kind of a part 2. Okay. Mostly the first bit was just kind of quickly covering the Worldsoul Saga stuff and everything we saw. that was like at the BlizzCon announcement, and talking about Anduin, talking about Thrall, talking about the Worldsoul itself. Then
the top of the iceberg.
Yeah. Then yesterday we went, let's go deeper into everything. Let's talk about Light. Let's talk about Void. Let's talk about like basically our speculation.
Yeah.
What available information is there across the breadth of the details in the war? The details in the War Within.
Sinuses say no.
Yep. The details in the War Within and what we know about Midnight, what we know about the Last Titan.
more like World of Warcraft mid-shite.
Exactly. It works in 2 levels. But like the light crystal.
Yeah.
Me and Jared have an insane theory about the light crystal. And when we say, like, you might think, oh, some narrow stuff. No, we have an insane theory. We also have an insane theory about the Sunwell and how it's going to end up.
Good.
And an insane theory about Sargeras' sword. Basically, we sat and, we just launched speculation balls at each other for like an hour and 20 minutes. And every 10 minutes, one of us went, holy shit, you're right. It was great. It was excellent. That'll be up tomorrow for, I was about to say for patrons. Yeah, for patrons, but for our paying Ghost subscribers. It'll be up there. And if you want to check it out and all the other lore walkings, there's a 7-day free trial for our Ghost memberships up there. Yeah, you can
binge all 35 hours. I'm assuming it's 35 hours of lore walking.
35. It's probably...
It's over 30. I actually checked.
Yeah, it's probably close to 40 because most of our episodes recently run like an hour 30.
Nerds.
Around that. Literally, yeah.
That is in fact the entire point.
Yeah, literally nerds.
And funny, so there's that. I do have, obviously do not take this as an announcement. My intent is I want to get loading screen into an audio form as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it would be good, if you have that in your podcatcher app and just every day there is the video game news podcast that's maybe 10 minutes long.
Yep.
Kind of do that in your walk to the shop. So, yeah. If we could get 20 podcasts a month added to Ghost, that'd be pretty sick.
We're getting there's a lot there. There's even some I've been away since a lot of Ghost has been launched and a little bit busy, but the capacity for Jared does a lot of just lore posts.
That's it. Man planned Ghost and then went to Japan.
Yeah, so if I just have thoughts, I will make the thoughts onto a text form and throw them up, and I'll try to write them a little bit writery, like I did with the last one, where about falling out of love with gaming, I suppose. So yeah,
this is actually rather hilarious. Maybe this is something we actually do need more granular email notification controls. Which actually we should get a plan for that before the end of the year. But I did just for how much content there is, right? I just hit the newsletter button on my email client, and right now I'm okay. I did hit I want to subscribe to everything because I wanted to test it out. Let's see, 8:01 p.m. So about an hour and a half ago, we published the WoW news for this week.
Yep,
very good. Then at 6:30 p.m. we published tomorrow's news video. A report into basically the downfall of live service gaming, which I'm very much here for. That's very good. We had the ad-free version of today's news video that went up at 5:30. At 4:30, we've got loading screen, which is our daily news and commentary. Newsletter.
Newsletter?
That is literally
it literally is it.
Yep, that's literally the word. And
at 12:30, there was the Last of Us cancelled text.
Oh yes,
post.
our report.
Well? Yep.
Our raw news report.
Yep.
Yes, all the raw reports that we use on the news channel, they go up there as well. Yeah. So anyway, point is,
plenty.
We've actually rapidly got to the point of there straight up being multiple posts a day, which I'm really happy about.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Yeah, Adam's doing a great job keeping all that on the track.
And he's off next week, so I'll be doing that next week.
Yes. There you go.
Bastard. Not that I can talk as way for 2 weeks. I'm just here you go. Do all my shit. Thank you. That's fine.
And we do have plans to have a big old, what's that word, Matt?
There's nothing I can say reasonable there.
Big old quantity
soiree
of things. A soiree. That's it. A soiree of content scheduled over the break as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to write a load of stuff next week.
I've also recently literally changed my job role and responsibilities.
Nice.
So
he's a janitor now. It's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, but it does mean there's a better. I was about to say DVD edited pair. I'm like, no, Michael. I was meant to say like sort of divide and conquer of our various different things we've got to do here. But then I was just like, oh yeah, that Total War mod I really want to play more of. Total War. It's always ends up being my one of my Christmas games for whatever reason. Will I be playing Pharaoh? No, I'll be playing Napoleon. A game from 2009.
Yeah, what will I be doing? I don't know. I have too many video games that's actually breaking my fucking heart.
Yeah, but don't worry, we still got one stream until we break.
Yeah, we've got break one stream. Friday night. And then you and I have a mission.
We have a mission
after that stream.
Do we?
We do indeed. See, man doesn't check his notifications then.
What's happening? Oh no.
Yeah. We have to go to Jared's house.
Ah, very good.
So we do.
And the 22nd.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very, very good.
Finish stream and then go get half cut with a load of goths. Be great. I mean, that's all his friends are, so yeah.
There you go. Well, that'll be eventful. And then soon it'll be... I mean, that's great. I mean, of all video game franchises, I feel like World of Warcraft, World Quests, and just a moving Doomstacks about in Total War games, those are peak hangover.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very.
So that is the crack for today. There was plenty going on over there for everybody who's subscribed at bellular.ghost.io. Matt, do we have any update on the URL situation?
No update. I just need to literally do that. I just need to do that. And
so take this as your pre-update to the solution of that problem. Then if you want to watch some other content today, we published a lore video yesterday, which in my opinion is pretty banging and great. So that's really fun on the basically Azeroth world. Basically Azeroth from the Warcraft 3 manual to now. I wonder if
that's cool.
Would it have got more
What?
It's one of those things. Sometimes lore content that's just interesting. It's always hard just being like, come on, people, watch the video. Trust me, it'll be good. Anyway, it's a good video. I liked recording it a lot. I think Jared did a great job with the script. So there's that for Warcraft. And if you want to jump into some spicy news, head over to the news channel after today's video. And there is our update to the Creative Assembly situation because they basically said, yep, we can't get away with this anymore. Sorry. And that is interesting. Other stories like, $1 billion company Epic defeating $1 trillion company Google. And that actually potentially mattering a lot to what you're able to do on your phone. And who knows, maybe even some other devices eventually. Pretty impactful story. Anyway, that is it for today's stream. Matt, do you have any closing thoughts, or are you good to do our usual and probably just go to Tesco and make a reasonable culinary decision?
Tesco mistakes. Let's go.
Tesco mistakes. Let's go.
No, I don't really have anything else to say, to be honest. I mean, I have nothing to chill on my person this week. I'd say to the fact that
you sleep. That's mostly it, right?
Wearing this great shirt, chill off. Yeah.
You tell this man has been to Japan and has purchased merch.
Me being in the Cospa is dangerous because that shit's fucking cheap.
Weeb!
That shit, literally, yeah.
Weeb!
I mean...
Weeb alert!
You don't know how. And there's someone who literally just signed up for Ghost. So I'm sure.
Hey, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Can I do a thanks?
I
cannot do a thanks because I don't have your screen name, but you know who you are.
Yes, thank you very, very much. Have I started Tevi? I have not played fucking anything in ages. Not I've sat there. I've got the Johanna game sat there installed. I've got Little Goody Two Shoes sat there, which I want to play because that's such a fucking cool game. Holy shit! I've got a billion games sat there.
This is like Harry Plinkett and his old pervert movies.
Yeah.
Just your version of Night Court?
Basically, yeah. Have I started Tevi? No, I have not started Tevi. I'd love to. I haven't even went back and replayed Rabbi Ribby like I was trying. I haven't finished Momodora. I started replaying Reverie Under the Moonlight because I wanted to play it again, and then I didn't finish it. I didn't finish playing Ori Will of the Wisps, even though I really liked Blind Forest, and Will of the Wisps immediately was better because it had combat, and I like combat because I'm a... I was literally just about to say combat sexual. I think, as people call Xenos, stuff like that. That's the...
What?
Yeah.
I'm just like...
Yeah.
For a sizable portion of things I hear, there is just this little voice in my head. It's like, should I be alarmed?
Yes. Always yes. Did you see The Boy and the Heron? No, I have not watched anything in a while either.
Oh, that movie.
Yeah. I was watching.
That's not on my list. There's one that begins with S.
Right, okay.
It's a Japanese movie. It begins with S. I can't believe I forgot its name.
Japanese movie begins with S.
I was going
We're getting there. We're getting there. Does anyone know?
No, it's a new movie that's good.
I actually literally don't know.
New 2023. Shit. I don't know what it is, but it's good.
Sodzilla.
Oh, Godzilla minus one is apparently incredible.
Are we still on to go see tomorrow? Did you forget about that?
That was tomorrow.
Yeah.
I want to say, okay, I've committed to Christmas shopping in Meat Space.
Okay.
But I have to assume that will not go on forever.
Yeah, it's just literally whenever you're...
When is Godzilla minus one?
Depends if you want to see the IMAX at Cineworld or not. Because it's half eight.
Interesting.
I don't think I have anything. I have no commitments tomorrow. Except to tidy my room and stop being in pain.
That's his to-do list. There we go. It's Matt's new best-selling book, 2 Rules for Life.
Suzume?
Suzume, that's the one!
Good job.
That's the one.
Good job, everyone.
Thank you.
Did I? Oh my god, wait. No, that's from, wait. When did I, sorry, I forgot that I watched that. But when did I watch that and where?
Watch what?
Suzume. Yeah.
Airplane?
No.
Your house?
No, not my house. Somewhere. Was it in the
Was
Odeon?
it a cinema?
Yeah. It was in the Odeon. Yeah.
There you go.
When? Holy shit.
I mean, Matt,
I have no conception of time.
of course not. In fairness, same.
What the
Today was my first day medicated, and it actually feels like on the tasty Ritalin, but actually no, prescribed proper. It's kind of incredible. It's like the second you have vaguely managed ADHD symptoms, you're just like, oh my god. The days actually felt like it's an appropriate amount of time. As opposed to normal, which is just, I sit down, my brain screams for 5 hours. Actually, psych, it's been 8 hours, and work isn't done yet. So that's been interesting.
Yeah, no, I know that thing. Oh, Tabby's 25 quid, fuck. Fuck video games, man. I really want to play a billion video games.
Does look like we may be on for
Gojira?
For that.
Gojira. Fucking hell yeah.
Does in fact coincide with +1ing of that movie. Points if you can guess who. That won't mean anything to anybody on stream. That is the business.
Yes.
That is the business.
Yeah, that was great.
We're going to go to Tesco and we're going to buy health foods to enjoy our Saturday nights with.
Absolutely.
It's Friday.
It's Friday. Yeah.
I get time.
Yeah. Kaji Free Reign is really good. I've only seen a couple episodes. That's fucking a stellar show. Holy shit. Oh my god. That is a stellar show. Unbelievable.
It's the charger from tomorrow's sponsor.
Nice. Oh,
yeah, I'm not going to say what it is, because if I say what it is, then I'll probably have to legally disclose it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Find out what tomorrow's sponsor is tomorrow.
Yes. Fantastic. Fantastic.
God.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so lame.
Sweet. Perfect. I was just about to get up and walk away with that ending stream. Fucking. Please be patient. I have problems. Dude. Oh dear, I have problems. How long have we been going? Like 3 hours? Nice. Sweet.
3:15.
Yeah, sweet. So, thank you very much for watching.
That's what we call the stream that only has a single minor night elf segment.
Yeah, this stream's going to Yuma. Was that the end of the 3:15 to Yuma? Was that it?
Oh my god, really? Wow, that's pretty good. I actually like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm down with that one.
Yeah. All right. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you for the ultimate the ultimate stream next Friday. The ultimate stream of the year, our Christmas stream on the 22nd at the same time in this same godforsaken nightmare. Good night.
Wow, what a great sell. Good night.